Gilbert Arenas. The whole thing started over a card game that got way out of hand. Gilbert Arenas, known for his bold personality and endless trash talk, poked at teammate Javaris Crittenton during a high-stakes game. Crittenton, frustrated from losing, fired back with heated words. Arenas, never one to back down, took it even further by jokingly offering to bring guns to settle the dispute. Now, Arenas always claimed it was a joke, but things escalated fast. When they got back to the locker room, Arenas actually laid out 4 unloaded guns near Crittenton's spot, daring him to pick one. Crittenton answered in the worst way possible by pulling out his own loaded gun. Other teammates watched in total disbelief, with some quickly rushing out of the locker room. Tension ran so high that it felt like it could explode any second, but luckily no shots were fired. The whole incident led to Arenas getting hit with a serious suspension, losing millions, and eventually seeing his career spiral down. Crittenton, meanwhile, saw his own path take an even darker turn, with legal troubles that ended his basketball career for good. Latrell Sprewell. Things were already tense with the Warriors, and Sprewell's boiling frustration finally snapped during practice. Carlesimo, sticking to his usual tough style, barked at Sprewell about passing drills, which set him off. Sprewell warned him not to step closer, but Carlesimo either ignored it or pushed the situation further. That's when Sprewell lunged, grabbing Carlesimo's neck with both hands and choking him for several seconds before teammates broke it up. Even worse, Sprewell stormed back onto the court later and threw a punch at Carlesimo, barely grazing him. The Warriors moved quickly, suspending Sprewell and then terminating his $32 million contract, which was absolutely unheard of at the time. The NBA followed by suspending him for the entire season without pay. Sprewell's contract got reinstated after arbitration, but he still lost over $6 million in salary. He missed endorsements too, as brands bailed fast. The whole thing turned into a media frenzy, painting Sprewell as the league's biggest villain overnight. Eventually, Sprewell found redemption with the Knicks, making it to the finals. But this incident always stuck to his name. The Warriors, meanwhile, stayed stuck in dysfunction for years until Curry showed up. Tim Donaghy. This whole mess exploded when the FBI uncovered that referee, Tim Donaghy, had been gambling on games he officiated. Donaghy racked up massive bets during the 2005 through 2007 seasons, claiming a gambling addiction while secretly passing inside info to old high school buddies turned bookie. He started with $2,000 per correct pick, but he got so accurate that his payouts jumped to $5,000 each. Investigators later confirmed most of his bets were on games he officiated, not random ones as he claimed. Donaghy tipped off his middleman with coded language, even revealing player injuries and referee dynamics to shape the bets. The NBA only learned about this scandal when the FBI stumbled upon it during a separate case. Donaghy eventually pleaded guilty to wire fraud and transmitting wagering details across state lines. He got 15 months in prison and was slapped with hefty fines, while his co-conspirators received shorter sentences. The NBA scrambled to tighten its gambling policies, admitting many referees had gambled in casinos. Donaghy tried to profit off his story with a memoir, but most of his claims were debunked as exaggerated or flat-out lies. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Dennis Rodman. His run with WCW was absolutely wild. During the late 90s, while dominating with the Bulls, he somehow found time to jump into professional wrestling. He linked up with the notorious New World Order, thanks to his close friendship with Hulk Hogan. Rodman was not just standing around ringside either. He got right into the chaos. He wrestled multiple matches, even teaming up with Hogan himself. The biggest headline came during the 1998 NBA Finals. Rodman skipped a Bulls practice just so he could appear on WCW's Monday Nitro, attacking Diamond Dallas Page with a steel chair. That stunt earned him a $20,000 fine, but honestly, he made way more from wrestling appearances, so he probably did not care. What's crazy is, even with all that madness, he still showed up for Game 4 and pulled down 14 rebounds off the bench. His matches were sloppy, but fans loved the crossover of NBA and wrestling worlds colliding. Rodman's wild energy fit wrestling perfectly, and even though WCW eventually collapsed, his time in the ring definitely helped cement his status as one of sport's biggest showmen. Donald Sterling. The entire situation exploded in 2014 when an audio recording of Sterling surfaced, revealing him making racist remarks to his mistress. The guy had already been wrapped in controversy for years, from housing discrimination lawsuits to bizarre behavior around his own players. Before all this, Sterling owned the Clippers since 1981 and basically ran the team into the ground for decades with his stingy ways. But by 2014, the team was finally good, packed with stars like Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and poised for a real playoff push. Then Sterling's recorded rant came out, where he told his mistress not to bring black people to games or post photos with them. The timing could not have been worse. The league, led by Adam Silver, did not hesitate. Sterling was banned for life and fined $2.5 million, the max allowed. Owners quickly voted to force him to sell the team. Sterling fought back with lawsuits, but eventually lost, and the Clippers sold for a record $2 billion to Steve Ballmer. The fallout triggered changes across the NBA, tightening the league's grip on owner behavior and pushing for more diversity at every level. 2001 Eastern Conference Finals. This series between Philadelphia and Milwaukee turned into way more than just basketball. Philadelphia came in as the top seed, riding Allen Iverson's MVP season, while Milwaukee had Ray Allen, Glenn Robinson, and Sam Cassell firing on all cylinders. Both teams fought through brutal semifinals, setting up this heavyweight battle. But right away, questions started flying about the refs. Calls seemed to lean Philly's way, especially as the series wore on. By Game 5, things really heated up when Philadelphia took 30 free throws to Milwaukee's 16. That did not sit well with anyone wearing green and cream. Then came the Scott Williams suspension. The league hit Milwaukee hard, suspending Williams for Game 7 after reviewing an elbow from earlier, even though he was not ejected at the time. Without him, Milwaukee's interior defense crumbled, and Philly pulled away. Bucks fans and players felt the league wanted that Iverson versus Lakers matchup, and they were not quiet about it. Allen and coach George Karl took fines for saying just that. The series left Milwaukee bitter, believing the whistles and suspensions sealed their fate. Even today, fans still argue this series felt rigged from the start. Kobe Bryant case. In the summer of 2003, Kobe Bryant checked into a Colorado resort for knee surgery prep. What followed became one of the most high-profile legal battles in sports. A 19-year-old hotel employee accused him of sexual assault, saying he attacked her in his room. At first, Kobe denied any encounter, but once physical evidence surfaced, he admitted to sex but insisted it was consensual. He was arrested days later, and the case officially began. The evidence raised huge questions. There were injuries, and traces of blood were found on clothing, with Kobe himself admitting he grabbed her neck during the act. His defense team came out swinging, attacking the accuser's credibility by pointing to other DNA found and her mental health history. The media frenzy turned brutal, and her identity was exposed, leading to threats and intense pressure. Eventually, the criminal case collapsed because the accuser chose not to testify. She later filed a civil suit, which ended in a private settlement. Though Kobe kept playing, losing some endorsements, this case followed him throughout his career. Jason Williams case. On Valentine's Day 2002, Jason Williams hosted a gathering at his New Jersey mansion, inviting friends and even members of the Harlem Globetrotters. Kostas Christofi, the hired limousine driver for the night, became the center of a nightmare. Williams, while showing off a 12-gauge Browning shotgun, ended up firing the weapon, hitting Christofi in the chest and killing him. Witnesses later said Williams tried to stage the scene to make it seem like an accident, even going as far as asking guests to mislead investigators. Williams faced a mountain of legal trouble with an 8-count indictment that included manslaughter and witness tampering. In 2004, after a long trial, he dodged the top charges, but was convicted on 4 counts tied to the cover-up. The jury couldn't agree on the reckless manslaughter charge, which led to a mistrial. Years dragged on before William finally took a plea deal in 2010, pleading guilty to aggravated assault. He got 5 years in prison, with parole eligibility after 18 months. Williams ended up serving about 27 months total, factoring in time for a separate DWI case. After release, he spoke about his regret and the pain caused by his reckless actions. Yao Ming versus the refs. During the 2005 playoffs, Rockets coach Jeff Van Gundy dropped a bomb, accusing the officials of unfairly targeting Yao Ming. He claimed a referee, not even working the postseason, tipped him off that Yao was getting extra attention because of Mavericks owner Mark Cuban's complaints. According to Van Gundy, Cuban had been riding the league hard about Yao screens, and it was paying off. Van Gundy stood firm on his claims, saying he saw it unfolding exactly as warned. He even said the referee pointed to an online evaluation mentioning Yao by name. Of course, the league shot back fast. NBA Vice President Stu Jackson denied any special focus on Yao or any other player, calling it baseless. Cuban, never one to stay quiet, called Van Gundy's accusations crazy and defended the officials. He pointed out that even his own center, Eric Dampier, was getting into foul trouble every game. Cuban admitted Dallas sent clips to the league about Yao's moving screens, but the league actually agreed most should have been called and were not. Despite being told to stay quiet, Van Gundy kept pushing, convinced Yao was being singled out. J.R. Smith soup incident. In March 2018, the Cavaliers hit headlines for the strangest reason. J.R. Smith launched a bowl of soup at assistant coach Damon Jones. The team labeled it conduct detrimental, handing Smith a 1-game suspension. Later, Smith explained what went down. He said he was already frustrated, both personally and professionally. And Jones, known for his teasing, pushed things too far that day in the team lunchroom. Jones apparently tried to mess with Smith by provoking him to spill his soup. Instead of letting it slide, Smith chose the nuclear option and threw the entire bowl at him. Smith admitted this was no heat-of-the-moment accident. He thought about it and did it anyway. The soup, chicken tortilla? One of Smith's favorites, which he later regretted, wasting more than anything else. After the mess, the Cavaliers suspended Smith to keep things in order, especially with the incident going public. Surprisingly, Jones approached Smith the next day and apologized for his role in the chaos. They patched things up quickly, but the story lived on, becoming one of the NBA's wildest off-court tales, blending humor and tension in classic JR fashion. Ja Morant suspensions. Ja Morant's saga has become one of the wildest stories in recent NBA memory. Back in 2023, Morant got himself suspended for 8 games after flashing a gun on Instagram Live from a Colorado nightclub. He later told the league it was not his gun, but the damage was already done. The NBA called his actions reckless, especially given how many young fans look up to him. He lost close to $700,000 from that suspension alone. Fast forward just a couple of months, and he did it again. Another video surfaced, this time showing him holding a gun while riding in a car with a friend. This one really hit harder. The league came down tougher, slapping him with a 25-game suspension to start the next season, costing him over $7 million in salary. He also lost out on a massive $39 million bonus by missing all NBA honors. Then in 2025, Morant got fined $75,000 for making gun-like gestures during games, even after warnings. Despite all this, Morant stayed defiant, calling himself a villain and keeping up the tough persona. Karl Malone controversy. Karl Malone, one of the league's top power forwards, has a past that's drawn major backlash. In 1983, while still at Louisiana Tech, Malone had a sexual relationship with 13-year-old Gloria Bell. She later gave birth to Demetrius Bell, but no charges were filed. Her family skipped criminal action, instead going for a paternity suit. Blood tests showed a 99% chance Malone was the father. He pushed back on child support, calling $125 a week too much before settling privately. Before that, Malone fathered twins, Daryl and Cheryl Ford, with Benita Ford when they were both 17. Malone fought the paternity suit, even avoiding DNA testing at first. Eventually, he settled out of court. Over time, he built relationships with the Ford twins, and Cheryl even played in the WNBA. In 2023, Malone judged the NBA slam dunk contest, and criticism flared back up. When asked, Malone brushed it off, saying it was his personal life to handle. Later that year, Louisiana Tech unveiled a statue of him, fueling even more outrage. His story remains a tangled legacy of athletic greatness and serious controversy. 2009 Finals. This series left a cloud hanging over, no matter how much people tried to move on. The free throw numbers alone had everyone suspicious. The Lakers somehow ended up with 171 free throws, while Orlando only managed 125. That gap really made it feel like the whistle leaned just a bit too much toward Los Angeles. On top of that, Orlando got slapped with 5 technical fouls, and the Lakers only 1. Fans were not buying that as a coincidence. It did not help that the Magic made a questionable call themselves by bringing back Jameer Nelson, who had been sidelined for months. Tossing him into the finals threw off their rhythm and gave people even more reason to say the series felt tilted. Plenty of fans could not shake the thought that the league had its eyes on pushing the Lakers forward, especially with a huge market and a global star in Kobe. Even though no official proof ever surfaced, the way things played out kept the controversy alive. The NBA brushed it aside, but fans kept calling it fishy long after the confetti dropped. 2007 Isaiah Thomas lawsuit. This mess put the Knicks front office under a brutal spotlight. A jury ruled that Isaiah Thomas did sexually harass Anucha Brown Sanders, who used to be a top executive for the team. He hit her with unwanted advances and constant verbal insults. He even admitted to trying to kiss her in December of 2005, tossing out the line, "No love today," like it was casual. What really kept the controversy alive was that the jury said Thomas himself would not have to pay punitive damages, even after finding him guilty of harassment. Instead, Madison Square Garden took the hit, as the jury ruled the company committed harassment too. They ordered MSG to pay punitive damages to Brown Sanders, which only made the headlines explode even more. Brown Sanders had first filed her lawsuit in January of 2006, accusing both Thomas and MSG of harassment and retaliation after they fired her. The case finally settled for a whopping $11.5 million. Even after the settlement, the whole ordeal painted a picture of a toxic environment, and fans could not stop shaking their heads at how far the scandal went. Kyrie controversies. Kyrie's had a wild ride filled with headlines that just keep on coming. Back in 2017, he threw everyone off by claiming the earth is flat. He doubled down by telling people to do their own research. He did eventually say sorry in 2018, but never really confirmed if he stopped believing it. That got plenty of eyes rolling. Fast forward to the 2021 season, Kyrie refused the COVID vaccine. That clashed big time with New York City's mandate, so the Brooklyn Nets benched him from home games. At first, they kept him out completely, but with COVID cases climbing and the roster thin, they let him play road games by December. The tension was sky high. Then came the storm in 2022, when Kyrie tweeted a link to a film loaded with anti-Semitic nonsense. He defended himself at first, but after some serious backlash, the Nets suspended him without pay. Kyrie later apologized on Instagram, but the damage was done. Nike cut ties in December, dropping his signature shoe deal completely. And Boston fans, they never forgave him. From broken promises to stomping their logo, Kyrie kept the fire burning. Allen Iverson dress code controversy. Allen Iverson's bold style shook the league like no other. By the early 2000s, he'd fully embraced hip-hop culture, rocking baggy clothes, chains, and cornrows. And the NBA wasn't having it. Commissioner David Stern decided he wanted players looking more professional to keep sponsors happy. So in 2005, he rolled out a strict dress code. Players had to wear collared shirts, dress pants, and leather shoes. No chains, no jerseys, no oversized clothes. This was clearly aimed at players like Iverson, who wore exactly what the league banned. Iverson saw right through it and did not hold back. He called it what it felt like, saying they were targeting guys like him and that it felt racial. Even though he followed the rule eventually, he made sure everyone knew he wasn't thrilled about it. Other players were heated too. Chris Webber and Steven Jackson backed Iverson, calling it a way to suppress black culture in the league. The fines rolled in fast, with Iverson himself getting hit for slipping on a chain during a game night. It became obvious this wasn't just about clothes, it was about identity, culture, and control. Jason Kidd, DUI. Kidd's off-court troubles really caught up to him back in 2012, just after he signed that 3-year deal with the New York Knicks. He had been at a charity event in East Hampton, but after leaving, he crashed his Cadillac into a telephone pole. The crash was so bad, it snapped the pole clean and shoved his SUV into some trees. He was alone in the car, got minor injuries, and ended up at Southampton Hospital before police arrested him for driving while intoxicated. At the scene, Kidd refused both a breathalyzer and a chemical test later at the hospital, but it did not take much guesswork for the officers. They said he reeked of alcohol, had watery eyes, slurred speech, and was all over the place on his feet. He even seemed totally lost about how the crash had happened. The next year, in 2013, Kidd pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor. He dodged jail time by agreeing to community service. Even after moving to coaching with the Brooklyn Nets, the league suspended him for 2 games because of it. This one still hangs over his career, no doubt about that. Seattle Supersonics relocation. Back in 2008, the Supersonics exit from Seattle tore the heart out of the city's basketball fans. It all really started when Howard Schultz, the Starbucks guy, bought the team in 2001 and pitched it as this big community treasure. But by 2006, fed up with arena troubles, he sold the team to Clay Bennett's group from Oklahoma City. Schultz thought they'd genuinely try to keep the team in Seattle, since the deal said they had to at least pretend to make a good faith effort. Well, that good faith did not last long. Bennett's crew pushed for $500 million in public funds for a new arena, but Washington's lawmakers shot that down. After that, Bennett made it clear he wanted to pack up and head to Oklahoma City. Seattle tried to fight it, dragging Bennett to court since the team was still locked into a lease at Key Arena. But with some heavy legal wrangling, they settled for $45 million, plus a bit more if Seattle stayed teamless for 5 years. The whole thing exploded when emails leaked, showing Bennett's group had relocation plans from the jump. Fans were furious, and though Schultz sued to undo the sale, he later bailed out. Kawhi Leonard load management controversy. Kawhi Leonard really set off a storm with his whole approach to load management. Back in 2018, coming off a brutal quad injury, he took a cautious path with the Raptors, skipping 22 games to keep himself fresh. The move paid off since he ended up winning the title and snagging Finals MVP. But that was just the beginning of the noise. Once he landed with the Clippers in 2019, things kept heating up. Kawhi kept sitting out games, especially the back-to-back ones, blaming knee problems. Even though the league has rules about resting healthy players, they gave him the green light because of his medical history. Still, fans and media couldn't stop talking about it. People got frustrated, saying it's tough to pay for a game, only to find out a superstar's watching from the bench. Kawhi's been clear though. He says he only rests when doctors tell him to, and points out his injuries are no joke. Torn ACL, torn meniscus. It's been rough. Whether folks like it or not, Kawhi's approach has changed how teams manage stars, but it's definitely ruffled feathers everywhere. Magic Johnson. Tampering controversy. Magic Johnson, as the Lakers executive, really stirred things up with a couple of tampering situations that got the whole league buzzing. It all started in 2017 when the Pacers accused the Lakers of messing around with Paul George while he was still under contract. The investigation caught fire after Magic joked on a late-night show about winking at George if they crossed paths. Sure, it sounded playful, but the NBA was not laughing. The league slapped the Lakers with a $500,000 fine, which is one of the biggest for tampering. Turns out, Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka had been chatting with George's agent when he definitely should not have. It was a big-time reminder that even small talks can explode into major fines. Then in 2018, Magic did it again, this time praising Giannis during an interview. The NBA wasted no time, fining the Lakers $50,000 for breaking the same tampering rule. Magic admitted he messed up, saying he had to be more careful. These moments really showed how easily a public figure can step over the line, even with innocent-sounding comments. Ben Simmons controversy. Ben Simmons went from a #1 draft pick with sky-high expectations to one of the most talked-about players for all the wrong reasons. Things really unraveled during his time with the Sixers, especially in that brutal playoff run back in 2021. When he passed up an open dunk in Game 7, it wasn't just a missed chance. It felt like the air got sucked out of the whole team. Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid made comments after that game that really turned up the heat on Simmons. Not long after, Simmons decided he wanted out. He skipped training camp, pointed to mental health concerns, and started stacking up fines. By the time the Sixers traded him to Brooklyn for James Harden, he had lost over $10 million in fines alone. Moving to the Nets didn't ease things up either. Injuries kept him off the floor, and when he did play, like against the Sixers in 2024, rough performances only added to the criticism. Even with all the noise, Simmons defended himself, reminding everyone he played at a high level before the injuries. Between casino accusations, teammate callouts, and tampering investigations, his career's been anything but quiet. Robert Sarver controversy. Robert Sarver, the former owner of the Suns and Mercury, landed in serious trouble after years of complaints finally caught up with him. Back in 2021, an investigation uncovered Sarver's long list of bad behavior, which included using racist language multiple times and making inappropriate comments about female employees. He also had a reputation for bullying staff, creating a toxic environment across the organization. The league didn't sit back. They hired a law firm to dig deep, interviewing over 300 people and going through thousands of documents. What they found confirmed what employees had been saying all along. Sarver's actions weren't just careless mistakes. They crossed the line over and over again. The NBA ended up suspending him for a full year, slapped him with a $10 million fine, and forced him into a training program. Still, people weren't impressed. Stars like LeBron James and Chris Paul called out the league for going too soft, and even PayPal threatened to cut ties with the Suns. Feeling the heat, Sarver agreed to sell both teams. In early 2023, Matt Ishbia bought the Suns and Mercury for a record-breaking $4 billion, closing one of the league's messiest chapters. Michael Jordan, gambling controversy. Michael Jordan's obsession with winning definitely did not stop at basketball. His gambling habits turned into one of the most talked about storylines of his career. During the early 90s, stories about Jordan's high-stakes gambling started gaining traction, especially with reports of him playing cards all night during the Olympics in Monaco. Then things got way messier in 1993. A check for $57,000, written by Jordan, ended up in the hands of James "Slim" Bueller, who happened to be a convicted drug dealer. Jordan first claimed it was a loan, but later admitted it was actually to cover his gambling losses on the golf course. Not great. Around the same time, Richard Esquinas released a book claiming Jordan lost over $1 million to him in golf bets. Jordan confirmed they gambled, but insisted they settled for around $300,000 instead. And it did not stop there. During the Eastern Conference Finals, Jordan was spotted gambling in Atlantic City right before a big game, raising questions about his focus. Even though the NBA investigated and found no rule breaking, rumors swirled for years, with people claiming his first retirement hit a quiet suspension. Andrew Bynum, bowling injury controversy. When Andrew Bynum landed in Philadelphia, the expectations were sky high. He had just come off an All-Star season, and the Sixers thought they'd found their franchise center. But everything unraveled fast, and in the most unexpected way. While rehabbing an already bad right knee, Bynum managed to injure his left knee while bowling. Yes, bowling. He admitted it himself, calling it a mirror thing, since the pain mimicked what he was already feeling in the other knee. This freak injury completely derailed his time with the Sixers. Bynum ended up missing the entire season without playing a single game. By March, he had to undergo surgery on both knees, officially closing the door on any hope of a return that year. The injury also sent his career into a sharp decline, as he never managed to regain his dominant form. Financially, it was a nightmare for Philadelphia. His contract was fully guaranteed, so the team was stuck paying for a player who never saw the floor. There were rumors about insurance coverage, but details stayed murky. The whole ordeal became a cautionary tale about risk during rehab. Derrick Rose controversies. Derrick Rose's career, once full of promise after winning the MVP in 2011, took some heavy hits off the court. In 2015, a woman accused Rose and two friends of assault, claiming they entered her Los Angeles apartment and attacked her while she was unconscious. She filed a massive civil lawsuit asking for $21.5 million. Rose argued that a text message from the woman gave him the impression it was consensual. The case went to trial in 2016, and after heated arguments and testimony, the jury cleared Rose and his friends of any liability. The woman later appealed, but in 2018, the appellate court shut it down, keeping the original verdict in place. Before all that, Rose's college career wasn't free of drama either. While he starred at Memphis in 2008, questions surfaced about his SAT scores. It turned out someone else allegedly took the test for him. That scandal forced Memphis to forfeit their entire season and left the program under probation. On top of that, during the civil trial, Rose admitted he didn't fully understand the meaning of consent, which drew plenty of criticism and raised serious concerns about his awareness of boundaries. Paul Pierce, Instagram live controversy. In April 2021, Paul Pierce found himself in a firestorm after an Instagram live that blew up all over the internet. He went live from a private poker game, surrounded by dancers wearing barely anything, while he openly drank alcohol and smoked what looked like marijuana. The video spread fast, and fans could not believe what they were seeing. ESPN, not thrilled with the optics, responded quickly. By April 5th, Pierce was officially out, with the company firing him under their morality clause. ESPN kept it tight-lipped, just confirming that he was done with the network. Pierce did not seem bothered at all. Right after the firing, he posted a video laughing, making it very clear he had zero regrets. He later doubled down, saying he was just enjoying a birthday party and did not understand the big deal. After all the noise, Pierce found his way back to sports media. In March 2024, he landed at Fox Sports 1, joining shows like Undisputed and Speak. Even with all the backlash, Pierce managed to stay relevant and keep his spot in the media game. Ben Gordon controversy. Ben Gordon, once celebrated for lighting up the court with the Chicago Bulls, has faced serious trouble since his playing days ended. In October 2022, he got arrested at LaGuardia Airport after allegedly hitting his 10-year-old son. The charges were heavy, including assault, resisting arrest, and violating an order of protection. 2 officers were hurt during the arrest, but Gordon took a plea deal and avoided jail time. Just 1 month later in Chicago, Gordon ended up in more legal trouble after reportedly punching a security guard at a McDonald's. He pleaded guilty there too and got placed in a probation program. The situation did not stop spiraling. In April 2023, Gordon acted erratically inside a juice shop in Stamford, Connecticut. Police found him carrying a folding knife, stun gun, and brass knuckles. Once again, he faced serious charges, but entered supervised probation with a chance to clear them later. Through all of this, Gordon has been honest about battling bipolar disorder and depression. He's attended over 50 therapy sessions and is working toward finishing his degree at the University of Connecticut. His former coach, Jim Calhoun, has supported his efforts to recover. Charles Oakley controversy. On February 8, 2017, Charles Oakley got dragged into a major scene at Madison Square Garden during a Knicks game against the Clippers. Video showed him tangled up with security, leading to his arrest. The Knicks claimed Oakley was tossed for being abusive toward team owner James Dolan. Oakley fired back, saying he never even spoke to Dolan and blamed the incident on his past criticism of how Dolan ran the team. After the dust settled, Oakley was slapped with misdemeanor assault and trespassing charges. He took a plea deal, which banned him from MSG for 6 months. But Oakley did not stop there. In September that same year, he hit Dolan and MSG with a lawsuit, accusing them of defamation and assault. MSG denied it all, sticking to their story that Oakley's behavior forced their hand. The legal mess dragged on, bouncing between dismissals and reinstatements. By December 2024, Oakley caught heat for missing texts tied to the case, blaming his phone for the issue. Despite the drama, Oakley has said he might return to MSG if Dolan ever apologizes, but he still insists he got wrong that night. Dwight Howard controversy. Back in July 2023, Dwight Howard got hit with a civil lawsuit from Stephen Harper, accusing him of sexual assault, battery, and false imprisonment over an incident from July 2021. Harper claimed Dwight forced him into non-consensual acts at his home, including with a third person. Howard pushed back, saying everything was consensual and Harper just wanted money. Howard's legal team even said Harper deleted texts that backed Dwight's story. By August 2024, Harper dropped the lawsuit for good, meaning he could not bring it back to court. Before that, in 2014, Howard faced child abuse allegations after Royce Reed, the mother of his son, accused him of using a belt as punishment. Howard admitted it, saying it was how he was raised. Authorities looked into it, but never filed charges. On top of the legal troubles, Howard's locker room reputation took plenty of hits across teams like the Magic, Lakers, Rockets, Hawks, and Hornets. Reports piled up about tension with teammates and coaches. Players even celebrated when he left. Then there's the Shaquille O'Neal feud over the Superman nickname. It got messy for years, but in April 2025, Shaq finally offered peace, even saying he'd join Dwight at his Hall of Fame ceremony. Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic fight. During a Bulls practice on October 17, 2017, things got out of control between Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic. They were both fighting for the starting power forward spot, and that competition boiled over fast. Reports said Mirotic charged at Portis twice, and Portis answered by punching him straight in the face. The hit was no joke. Mirotic ended up in the hospital with multiple facial fractures and a concussion, which kept him off the court for weeks. The Bulls reacted by suspending Portis for 8 games without pay. Meanwhile, Mirotic missed the first 23 games of the season while recovering from his injuries. The fight really shook up the locker room and threw off the team's chemistry big time. Portis eventually apologized publicly, and Mirotic said he accepted it. But let's be real, things between them stayed awkward. Just a few months later, in February 2018, Mirotic got traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. Years down the line, Portis admitted the whole thing taught him a lesson. He called it a tough moment, but one that pushed him to grow, both as a player and as a person. James Harden. What if the Thunder never traded James Harden? In 2012, after reaching the finals, the Thunder had a huge choice to make. They offered Harden a 4-year deal worth $55 million, but he wanted closer to the max. Rather than stretch their budget, they flipped him to the Rockets for Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, and some picks. But if they kept Harden, this team could have been terrifying. With Harden, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook all in their prime, the Thunder might have ruled the Western Conference for years. Championships would have been right there for the taking. Harden's role probably would have stayed smaller, maybe slowing down his rise to MVP level, but that trio's chemistry could have made them unbeatable. Plus, a dominant Thunder squad might have changed the whole league, forcing other teams to rethink their plans. Instead, they broke up what could have been a dynasty and left everyone wondering how many rings that young, loaded squad really could have won together. Derrick Rose. What if Derrick Rose never got injured? When the Bulls grabbed Rose with the #1 pick in 2008, he instantly lit up the league. Rookie of the Year, youngest MVP ever at 22, and leading the Bulls to a wild 62-win season in 2011. With Tibbs coaching and Rose exploding past defenders, the Bulls actually looked like they could take down Miami's super team, but then came the nightmare. First game of the 2012 playoffs, Rose tore his ACL and everything changed. He missed the entire next season, and more injuries just kept piling up. If he stayed healthy, the Bulls would have gone toe-to-toe with LeBron James every year, and Rose could have built a Hall of Fame career, stacking all-star appearances and deep playoff runs. With Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, and Jimmy Butler rising, Chicago had the pieces. Instead, Rose fought through setbacks, adapted his game, and still gave fans unforgettable moments. Michael Jordan. What if the Trailblazers drafted Michael Jordan? In the 1984 draft, Portland had the 2nd pick and desperately wanted a center, so they passed on Jordan and grabbed Sam Bowie. They thought their backcourt was set with Jim Paxson and Clyde Drexler, so they went all in on filling that center spot. But if they took Jordan instead, it would have been wild. Pairing Jordan with Drexler could have made them one of the most dangerous duos the league had ever seen, flying past defenders and lighting up the scoreboard every night. Portland might have turned into a full-on powerhouse in the West, stacking titles through the late 80s and 90s. And without Jordan in Chicago, the Bulls dynasty never happens, completely flipping the league's history. There's always the question of whether Portland's front office would have built the right team around him. But either way, Jordan's firepower alone could have changed everything for the Blazers and the entire NBA forever. Carmelo Anthony. What if the Pistons drafted Carmelo Anthony? In the 2003 draft, Detroit had the second pick and took Darko Milicic, passing on Anthony, who went right after to the Nuggets. Detroit already had a tough core with Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, and Rasheed Wallace. So they figured they needed a big man, not another scorer. But if they grabbed Carmelo, things could have looked a lot different. He could have given them an instant scoring punch, making that 2004 title run even scarier. Long term, Anthony might have kept the Pistons on top of the East, stacking more finals trips and maybe more rings. Of course, there's the chemistry issue. Detroit's whole identity was about team play, and adding a high-volume rookie might have shaken things up. Even Rasheed Wallace thought they would have missed out on the title. But with Carmelo's talent, it's hard not to think Detroit could have built a lasting powerhouse and changed his whole career legacy. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Steph Curry. What if the Curry trade to the Bucks actually happened? Back in 2012, the Warriors were desperate to fix their front court, and talks with the Bucks got serious. Golden State thought about trading Curry, who was battling constant ankle issues, but the Bucks medical staff waved them off, not liking what they saw with his injuries. Instead, the deal ended up sending Monte Ellis, Ekpe Udoh, and Kwame Brown to Milwaukee for Andrew Bogut and Steven Jackson. But if Milwaukee took the gamble on Curry, they would have landed a franchise-changing player. His shooting and playmaking could have completely reshaped their offense. And when they drafted Giannis in 2013, Curry's presence might have accelerated his rise, creating a ridiculous duo. Meanwhile, the Warriors holding on to Curry turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to them. He became the face of their dynasty, rewrote the league's style of play, and turned Golden State into a championship machine built around his insane shooting. Brandon Roy. What if Brandon Roy never got injured? When the Trailblazers picked Roy 6th overall in 2006, he looked like the future of the franchise. He won Rookie of the Year, made 3 straight All-Star teams, and had Portland climbing fast in the West. Roy did everything, scored from anywhere, made plays, and held his own on defense. But knee problems wrecked it all. With no cartilage in either knee, surgeries kept piling up, and by 2011, he had to retire at just 27. If Roy stayed healthy, he could have become one of the league's top shooting guards, making all NBA teams, and maybe even getting into the Hall of Fame. The Blazers had LaMarcus Aldridge and Greg Oden, and with Roy leading, Portland might have gone deep in the playoffs and chased titles. He could have pushed teams like the Lakers and Spurs every year, making the West a whole lot tougher. His career could have been legendary instead of heartbreak. Kevin Durant. What if Kevin Durant's foot was not on the line against the Bucks? In Game 7 of the 2021 semifinals, Durant pulled off an insane turnaround jumper over PJ Tucker with just 1 second left. At first, it looked like a dagger 3 to win it, but replay showed his foot barely touching the line. Instead of the Nets going up by 1, the game got tied at 109, and the Bucks took it in overtime 115 to 111. If Durant's foot stayed behind that line, the Nets would have led by 1 with just a second to survive. Moving on to the Eastern Finals, Brooklyn could have been favorites to take the title, even with Kyrie and James Harden banged up. For Durant, it could have been another championship run added to his legacy. And the Bucks, losing that game, might have cranked up all the pressure on Giannis and left them stuck chasing their first ring. Chris Paul. What if Chris Paul got traded to the Lakers? Back in 2011, the Lakers thought they pulled off the perfect move. They were about to land Paul, the Rockets were set to grab Pau Gasol, and the Hornets would walk away with Lamar Odom, Kevin Martin, Luis Scola, Goran Dragic, and a first-round pick. But the NBA owned the Hornets, and they completely shut it down. David Stern called it basketball reasons, but it was really owners like Dan Gilbert panicking about the Lakers loading up again. If this went through, Paul and Kobe Bryant would have been brutal for the rest of the league. And the Lakers were chasing Dwight Howard too, so they were on the edge of building a monster team. Without Paul, the Clippers got him instead, and Lob City was born. The Lakers, they missed their shot, and their grip on the West fell apart fast. This trade could have flipped the whole balance of power in the league. Tim Duncan. What if Tim Duncan signed with the Magic? In the summer of 2000, the Magic had the money ready, offering Duncan a 6-year deal worth $67.5 million. Pairing him with Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady could have built a serious contender in the East. Duncan's dominance in the paint, Hill's all-around game, and McGrady's scoring could have turned Orlando into a nightmare for the rest of the league. Even with Hill's injury problems later on, having Duncan and McGrady alone might have kept the Magic pushing deep into the playoff. On the flip side, if Duncan left San Antonio, the Spurs would have fallen apart fast. No Duncan means no dynasty, and guys like Tony Parker and Manu might never have become stars. Greg Popovich's legendary coaching career could have looked a lot different too. Duncan's choice to stay in San Antonio ended up shaping the league for years, but the Magic were one Tim Duncan decision away from building their own powerhouse. Yao Ming. What if Yao Ming never got injured? Drafted first overall in 2002, Yao instantly became a force in the middle for the Rockets. With his massive frame and crazy touch for a big man, he averaged 19 points, over 9 rebounds, and nearly 2 blocks a game, stacking up 8 All-Star nods in 9 seasons and 5 All-NBA selections. But foot and leg injuries wrecked his prime, cutting his career short by his early 30s. If he stayed healthy, Yao could have played 12 to 15 seasons, easily topping 20,000 points and 10,000 rebounds. More importantly, with a healthy Yao next to Tracy McGrady, the Rockets had a real shot at deep playoff runs, maybe even finals appearances. Beyond the wins, a longer career would have taken his global impact even further, helping grow the league worldwide and opening doors for more international talent. Instead, injuries closed the chapter too soon, leaving fans wondering just how dominant Yao and the Rockets could have been. Kevin Durant. What if the Trailblazers drafted Kevin Durant? In 2007, Portland held the top pick and went with Greg Oden, hoping to lock down their center spot for the future. Oden's career, though, was wrecked by injuries, while Durant, taken second by Seattle, turned into one of the best scorers ever. If Portland picked Durant, he would have joined Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge to form a monster trio. Durant's unstoppable scoring, Roy's playmaking, and Aldridge's inside game could have made the Blazers a nightmare in the West. Instead of first-round exits, they might have made real playoff runs and kept the franchise steady for years. And beyond Portland, the whole league shifts. The Thunder likely never explode onto the scene, and Durant probably never joins the Warriors, which completely changes those championship battles. Portland could have been a powerhouse for the decade, with Durant leading the way and rewriting both his legacy and the entire NBA's balance of power. Kobe Bryant. What if the Hornets never traded Kobe? In the 1996 draft, the Hornets took a 17-year-old Kobe with the 13th pick, but flipped him to the Lakers for Divac. If they kept him, Charlotte's whole future could have changed. Pairing Kobe with Glenn Rice and Anthony Mason might have turned the Hornets into a playoff regular, maybe even pushing for deep runs in the East. But here's the thing, Kobe's rise was shaped by the Lakers setup. Surrounded by veterans and coached by Phil Jackson, he developed into a killer. In Charlotte, without that support, his growth might have taken a different turn. And for the Lakers, missing out on Kobe means no early 2000s dynasty with Shaq. Those 3 straight titles probably never happened. Plus, Kobe staying in Charlotte might have shifted power to the East, shaking up rivalries and playoff battles across the league. That one draft day move ended up shaping the entire NBA for years. Len Bias. What if Len Bias never passed away? In 1986, the Celtics grabbed Bias with the 2nd pick, expecting him to be the spark for their next great run. He had the athleticism, the scoring, and the defensive edge to slide right into that veteran squad with Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish. If Bias joined that core, Boston could have kept their dynasty alive longer, staying on top while their stars aged. His versatility would have given them extra firepower, making them even tougher in a brutal Eastern Conference. The rivalries with Detroit and Chicago could have gotten even nastier, maybe slowing down the Bulls' rise. Some even believed Bias had the potential to challenge Michael Jordan for the league's spotlight. Beyond the court, Bias's story shook the sports world, pushing drug policy reforms and changing how colleges looked after their athletes. He might have gone down as one of the greats and kept the Celtics chasing banners through the 90s. Steph Curry. What if the Timberwolves drafted Steph Curry? In 2009, Minnesota held both the 5th and 6th picks, but went with Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn, leaving Curry for the Warriors at 7. If the Timberwolves took Curry, their entire franchise could have flipped. Curry's shooting and playmaking might have finally dragged Minnesota out of irrelevance and into the playoffs. With his rise to MVP level, he would have elevated his teammates and completely changed their style of play. Minnesota's constant coaching carousel and front office chaos might have settled too, with a real superstar to build around. Beyond the Timberwolves, the whole league feels different. Without Curry, the Warriors probably never become a dynasty, and Minnesota becomes the center of the NBA's three-point revolution. Those championships and rivalries from the last decade could have played out in a totally new way. Instead, Minnesota passed twice, letting the future face of the league fall right into Golden State's hands. Shaq. What if Shaq never left the Magic? Drafted first overall in 1992, Shaq turned the Magic into a real contender fast, even leading them to the finals by 1995. But by 1996, contract talks fell apart, and the Lakers swooped in with a monster 7-year deal worth $120 million. If Shaq stayed in Orlando, though, everything changes. He and Penny Hardaway were a nightmare pairing, and with Shaq anchoring the middle, the Magic could have made multiple finals runs and maybe grabbed a title or two. Keeping Shaq might have taken some pressure off Penny too, maybe even helping him avoid the injuries that derailed his career. Without Shaq, the Lakers probably miss out on their early 2000s dynasty, and their whole pursuit of stars looks way different. Plus, with Shaq staying east, those battles with the Bulls and other rivals would have gotten a whole lot tougher. Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. What if they never got hurt in the 2019 finals? The Warriors were already limping into that series, but losing Durant to an Achilles tear and Klay to an ACL tear was brutal. If both stayed healthy though, it's hard to see the Raptors keeping up. Durant's scoring would have cracked Toronto's defense wide open, and Klay's sharpshooting, plus his tough defense on the perimeter, could have made all the difference. With both weapons available, the Warriors' offense would have been overwhelming, and their defense much tighter, especially against Kawhi Leonard. Momentum might have flipped fast in those close games, and the Warriors could have pushed for a third straight title. Even Klay himself believed they had it in the bag if he stayed on the floor. Instead, injuries opened the door for Toronto, ended the Warriors' dynasty run, and shifted the whole league's balance. Healthy, they might have walked away champions yet again, the first three-peat since the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. LeBron James. What if LeBron never left the Cavaliers? In 2010, Cleveland had just finished with the league's best record at 61-21, but fell short in the playoffs again. If LeBron stayed, the front office would have felt even more pressure to land big-name help, but convincing stars to join him in Cleveland was always tricky. Without the Miami move, LeBron probably misses out on those 2 rings with D. Wade and Chris Bosh, which definitely changes the way people talk about his legacy. And for Cleveland, keeping LeBron would have kept the franchise's value high and the city's economy buzzing with packed arenas and playoff runs. Plus, his Miami decision kicked off the whole player empowerment wave, with stars choosing their teams and building super squad. If he stayed home, that whole trend might have been delayed. Instead, leaving changed everything. For his career, for the Cavaliers, and honestly, for the way the entire league operates today. But for the rings, who knows? Grant Hill. What if Grant Hill never got hurt? Drafted 3rd overall by the Pistons in 1994, Hill came out of the gate dominating. He snagged co-rookie of the year, made multiple all-star teams, scoring, rebounding, playmaking, and locking down on defense. By 2000, though, his career got wrecked by a brutal ankle injury that led to endless surgeries and even a life-threatening infection. But if Hill stayed healthy, he could have chased MVPs and led deep playoff runs. His skill set was so unique, Detroit might have built a contender around him, or later in Orlando, he and Tracy McGrady could have terrorized the East for years. Hill's smooth game and all-around dominance had him on track for legendary status. Without those injuries, cutting his prime short, he could have easily been talked about alongside the absolute greats in NBA history, not just as one of the biggest what-ifs. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. What if the Warriors traded them for Chris Paul? Back in 2011, Golden State actually tried to pull this off, offering both Curry and Thompson to the Hornets for Paul. But Paul did not want to commit long-term, and the whole thing fell apart. If the trade happened, New Orleans could have been dangerous fast. Curry and Thompson's combined shooting would have given them a lethal backcourt and maybe pushed them into real playoff contention. For the Warriors, though, it could have been a disaster. Even with Paul's elite skills, if he bounced after a short stay, they'd have lost both of their future cornerstones for nothing. No Splash Brothers means no dynasty, no revolution in three-point shooting, and no run of titles that flip the league upside down. Rivalries, championships, all of it looks different without Curry and Thompson lighting up arenas. That failed trade quietly ended up saving Golden State and shaping the entire future of the NBA. Thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring this video. Basketball's officially back, and every night feels like a highlight waiting to happen. If you love watching hoops, there's no better way to stay involved in the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook. Here's the offer. New customers bet $5 and get $300 if your bet wins. Paid in bonus bets, plus get 3 months of NBA League Pass no matter what. That means you're catching every dunk, clutch shot, and overtime thriller even if your first bet doesn't hit. Just sign up using promo code MODERNJAM, Make that first $5 bet, and you're in. It's that easy. You'll get to watch games live and use your bonus bets on any upcoming matchups you want. DraftKings makes betting simple and exciting. You can go live mid-game, follow every score in real time, or build same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. And with League Pass included, you'll never miss the moments everyone's talking about the next day. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using promo code MODERNJAM, and start playing today. New customers bet $5 and get $300 if your bet wins. Plus 3 months of NBA League Pass no matter what. This message is sponsored by Raycon. And listen, these aren't just earbuds. They've become my go-to every single day. Raycon's everyday earbuds sound incredible, feel comfortable all day long, and actually stay put no matter what I'm doing. They've got active noise cancellation for when I want to tune everything out, and awareness mode when I'm out walking or running errands, so I can still hear what's going on around me. The new classic version adds multi-point connectivity, so I can switch between my phone and laptop instantly. 10 minutes of quick charge gets me 90 minutes of playtime. And with the case, you get up to 32 hours of battery life. I've been using the cool mint color lately. It's clean, minimal, and feels more like an accessory than tech. And honestly, over 4 million people already own Raycons, which says it all. Plus, there's a 30-day happiness guarantee. So if you don't love them, returns are easy. No risk at all. For Black Friday and Cyber Monday, Raycon's going big. Everything's up to 30% off. Whether you're shopping for gifts or grabbing a pair for yourself, now's the time to jump on it. So click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/modernjam to save up to 30% site-wide on Raycon audio products. I use these every day, and you should too. Kobe Bryant. What if Kobe got traded in 2007? That summer, Kobe was furious with the Lakers, fed up with the slow development of guys like Andrew Bynum, and pushed hard for a trade. The Bulls were his top choice, but Kobe refused to go if they had to give up Luol Deng, which killed that deal. The Pistons actually had an agreement in place, but Kobe shot it down using his no-trade clause because he had no interest in playing in Detroit. Even the Mavericks got close, almost pulling off a blockbuster that would have paired Kobe with Dirk Nowitzki, but Lakers management backed out last minute. If any of those trades happened, everything changes. In Chicago, Kobe might have been the superstar to push them back into relevance. In Detroit, he could have led a proven team back to the finals. And in Dallas, teaming with Dirk might have taken down the Spurs' hold on the West. No matter the destination, the Lakers dynasty likely never happens. Magic Johnson. What if the Jazz got Magic Johnson? Back in 1976, the New Orleans Jazz went after veteran guard Gail Goodrich from the Lakers, but NBA rules at the time meant they had to cough up draft picks as compensation, including their first rounder in 1979. That pick turned into the #1 overall selection, and the Lakers snatched up Magic Johnson. If the Jazz kept that pick, they could have built their future around Magic, teaming him with Pistol Pete in what could have been an electric backcourt. With that kind of firepower, the Jazz might have found enough success to avoid their move to Utah entirely. For the Lakers, missing out on Magic would have been devastating. He was the heartbeat of their 80s dynasty, leading them to 5 championships and lighting up the league. Without Magic, the entire era of Showtime likely never happened, and the NBA's balance of power looks wildly different for years to come. Greg Oden. What if Greg Oden never got hurt? Drafted first overall in 2007, Oden came in with sky-high expectations as a dominant 7-foot center out of Ohio State. His defense and rebounding were already elite, and Portland hoped he'd anchor their front court for years. But before he played a single NBA game, knee surgery sidelined him for the entire 2007 season. Things only got worse from there. Fractured kneecap, more surgeries, and his career never had a real chance to take off. If Oden stayed healthy, Portland might have built a powerhouse around him. With Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge, Oden could have given the Blazers a legitimate shot at running the West. His size and skill could have made him a perennial all-star, and maybe even a Hall of Famer. The NBA landscape shifts too, with Portland potentially challenging the top teams of that era. Instead, injuries turned one of the league's brightest prospects into a massive what-if. Bill Walton. What if Bill Walton never got hurt? Coming out of UCLA, Walton was unstoppable, leading the Bruins to 2 championships and an 88-game winning streak. Portland saw the same greatness, grabbing him first overall in 1974. By the 76 season, Walton delivered big time, carrying the Blazers to their only title and grabbing Finals MVP. He followed that up by winning League MVP, looking every bit like a future legend. But injuries wrecked everything. Foot problems, endless surgeries, and missed seasons kept him stuck on the sidelines, limiting him to just 468 games across 14 years. If Walton stayed healthy, Portland might have built a dynasty around him, stacking up championships. His elite passing and defense could have changed how people viewed centers, and his legacy might have included piles of all-star appearances and accolades. Instead, injuries forced what should have been an all-time career into flashes of brilliance, leaving fans forever wondering what might have been. Bill Russell. What if the Hawks never traded Bill Russell? In 1956, the St. Louis Hawks grabbed Russell with the second pick, but flipped him to the Celtics for Ed McCauley and Cliff Hagan. If they kept him, Russell alongside Bob Pettit could have built an absolute powerhouse frontcourt. The Hawks were already good, making finals runs in 57, 60, and 61, and they even won the title in 58. But with Russell, they might have stacked up even more championships and completely owned that era. Meanwhile, Boston's dynasty never happens. Without Russell's defense and leadership, the Celtics lose the anchor that carried them to 11 titles in 13 seasons. He set the tone for their entire identity, turning them into a defensive machine. If Russell stayed with the Hawks, the entire balance of the league shifts, and the Celtics' legendary dominance probably fades before it ever starts. One trade completely reshaped the future of the NBA for decades. Bernard King. What if Bernard King never got hurt? In the mid-80s, King was tearing up the league, leading the NBA in scoring with nearly 33 points a game and dropping a wild 60 points on Christmas Day. His playoff run in 1984 was legendary, torching defenses with almost 35 points a night and pushing the Celtics to a full 7 games. But in March of 1985, disaster hit. A brutal knee injury with a torn ACL, meniscus damage, and a fractured femur. If King stayed healthy, he could have easily topped 25,000 career points, stacking up scoring titles and all-NBA honors. More importantly, with Patrick Ewing joining the Knicks in '85, King and Ewing could have been a nightmare duo in the East, shaking up the power balance against teams like the Celtics and Pistons. Instead, the injury stole his prime, though King still fought back for an all-star season later, proving he never lost that scoring touch. Michael Jordan. What if Jordan never retired in 1993? After 3 straight titles, Jordan shocked everyone by walking away from the game, worn down by exhaustion and grief after his father's death. But if he stayed, the Bulls were set to keep rolling. Even without him, in the 1994 season, they still won 55 games, with Scottie Pippen playing like a superstar. With Jordan still in the lineup, Chicago likely pushes past the Knicks and makes a real run at a 4th straight title. His presence could have kept the Bulls on top, possibly stealing those back-to-back championships the Rockets grabbed in '94 and '95. Without Jordan's break, the league's entire balance shifts, and we might have seen an unthinkable 8 straight titles for Chicago. Jordan's legacy, already untouchable, would have hit even crazier heights. Instead, his time away opened the door for others, and while he still came back to win 3 more, the dynasty might have been even bigger. San Antonio Spurs. What if the Spurs got the rebound in the 2013 finals? With just over 5 seconds left in Game 6, the Spurs led 95-92 and were a single rebound away from a championship. But Chris Bosh snatched the miss, kicked it to Ray Allen, and his corner 3 tied the game, flipping all the momentum. If San Antonio secured that board, they probably close out Miami right there, adding another title to their dynasty. Tim Duncan grabs his 5th ring, which boosts his legacy into an even higher tier among the all-time greats. On the other side, LeBron James would have faced massive heat for another finals loss, and that Miami super team might have looked a lot less unbeatable. The ripple effects could have stretched into roster moves and retirements, maybe even speeding up the Spurs' transition to the next era. One rebound could have erased Miami's repeat and handed San Antonio another banner for their legendary collection. Luka. What if the Suns drafted Luka? In the 2018 draft, Phoenix held the top pick, but went with DeAndre Ayton, passing on Luka even though he was already EuroLeague MVP at just 19. If they took Luka, pairing him with Devin Booker could have built one of the most dangerous backcourts in the league. Luka's playmaking would have taken pressure off Booker, giving the Suns 2 elite offensive weapons right out of the gate. With Luka's impact, Phoenix might have skipped past the long rebuild and jumped straight into playoff contention, possibly reaching success even earlier than their 2021 finals run. Plus, his star power could have helped draw more talent to the roster. Meanwhile, the Western Conference shifts completely, since Dallas never lands Luka, and the Mavericks' rise changes instantly. Instead, Phoenix missed their shot, and while Ayton played his role in their finals push, Luka's rise in Dallas, and now with the Lakers, made the Suns' draft decision look like a massive missed opportunity. Ben Wilson. What if Ben Wilson never passed away? Back in 1984, Wilson was the top high school player in the country, a 6'8" point forward out of Chicago with the vision and skill to draw early comparisons to Magic Johnson. He likely would have joined Illinois, teaming up with future stars like Nick Anderson and Kendall Gill. That squad could have pushed the Fighting Illini to national titles, flipping the college basketball scene. Once in the NBA, Wilson's mix of size, skill, and basketball IQ had him lined up for stardom. He could have been a multi-position nightmare, maybe even on track for a Hall of Fame career, shaping the future of the game. Off the court, Wilson's rise from Chicago's South Side might have inspired real change, giving hope to countless kids facing tough environments. His legacy still lives through players like Derrick Rose, but if Wilson's story had continued, it might have become one of the greatest in basketball history. Kawhi Leonard. What if the Pacers never traded Kawhi Leonard? In 2011, Indiana picked Leonard 15th overall, but shipped him to the Spurs for George Hill, along with the rights to Davis Bertans and Erasem Lorbeck. If they kept Kawhi, Indiana's defense could have reached an entirely different level. Leonard's lockdown ability, which later earned him 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, would have been a perfect fit next to Paul George, forming one of the nastiest perimeter duos in the league. We've seen this duo, but not while they were both young and hungry. The Pacers were already pushing the Heat to the brink in the playoffs, and with Kawhi's two-way game developing, they might have had the extra firepower to get over the top. His growth into a Finals MVP and superstar could have built long-term stability for Indiana, maybe even turning them into serious title contenders. Meanwhile, the Spurs would have lost the player who helped drive their 2014 championship run. One draft day deal ended up swinging the futures of both franchises completely. Penny Hardaway. What if Penny Hardaway never got hurt? Drafted 3rd overall in 1993, Penny exploded onto the scene with a rare mix of size, vision, and smooth scoring that had people comparing him to Magic Johnson. By year 2, he was already an All-NBA first-teamer, putting up over 20 points and 7 assists a night. With Shaq by his side, the Magic were looking like the league's next powerhouse, and Penny was right at the heart of it, but injuries wrecked it all. A torn meniscus in the '96 playoffs went undiagnosed for months, and by the time he got surgeries in 2000, his explosiveness was gone. If he stayed healthy, Penny could have kept his all-star level play well into the 2000s, maybe winning titles with Shaq and locking down a Hall of Fame spot. Instead, injuries cut his prime short, and the NBA lost one of the most exciting, gifted guards of his generation, Ralph Sampson. What if Ralph Sampson never got hurt? Coming into the league at 7'4" with the agility of a guard, Sampson was built to dominate. He won Rookie of the Year in 1984 and made 4 straight All-Star teams, looking like a future legend next to Hakeem as the Rockets' Twin Towers. But in 1986, a brutal fall against the Celtics triggered his decline. A year later, a torn knee cartilage finished the job, wrecking his mobility and cutting his prime short. If Sampson stayed healthy, he could have kept up his all-star level play into the early 90s, stacking up all NBA honors. With both him and Hakeem at full strength, the Rockets might have snagged a title in the mid-80s and changed the league's power structure. Plus, Sampson's unique blend of size and skill could have inspired the evolution of big men way earlier. Instead, injuries turned a potential dynasty into a major what-if. Dirk Nowitzki. What if the Bucks never traded Dirk Nowitzki? In the 1998 draft, Milwaukee grabbed Dirk at 9th overall, but shipped him off, along with Pat Garrity, to the Mavericks for Robert Tractor Traylor. Back then, international scouting was shaky, and Milwaukee thought Traylor could be their force in the paint. But if they kept Dirk, pairing him with Ray Allen and Glenn Robinson could have given the Bucks one of the most dangerous trios in the East. Dirk's stretch shooting and versatility might have totally reshaped Milwaukee's style, turning them into serious contenders through the early 2000s. Plus, with Milwaukee's strong German heritage, Dirk could have felt right at home, maybe even thriving faster. Instead, the Bucks ended up with little impact from Traylor, while Dirk turned into a legend in Dallas, leading the Mavericks to a 2011 title and becoming one of the greatest forwards ever. Keeping Dirk could have completely rewritten Milwaukee's entire franchise history. Petrovic. What if Petrovic never passed away? By the 1993 season, Petrovic had become one of the NBA's deadliest scorers, averaging over 22 points per game while shooting better than 50% from the field and nearly 45% from 3. Despite that, he somehow got snubbed from the All-Star game, but his rise was undeniable. Had he continued, Petrovic likely racks up multiple All-Star appearances and All-NBA honors, pushing his name into the league's elite. With the Nets, he was building a strong core alongside Derek Coleman and Kenny Anderson, and they could have grown into real contenders in the tough 90s Eastern Conference. Beyond the numbers, Petrovic was already a trailblazer for international players, breaking barriers and proving that European talent could thrive in the NBA. A longer career from Petrovic might have accelerated the league's global growth even faster. His tragic passing froze what was becoming an incredible story, leaving behind a legacy of brilliance and endless what-ifs. Sabonis. What if Sabonis never got hurt? In the early 80s, Sabonis was already a sensation in Europe, dominating with Žalgiris Kaunas and leading the Soviet Union to Olympic gold in 1988, and that was while battling injuries. But multiple Achilles tears and lingering knee and foot problems stole his prime, keeping him away from the NBA until he was 31. Even then, with the Trailblazers, Sabonis still showed flashes of brilliance. If he stayed healthy though, Sabonis could have entered the league much earlier and gone toe-to-toe with the likes of Hakeem and David Robinson, stacking up all-star appearances and rewriting what people expected from a big man. His passing, shooting, and skill could have pushed Portland over the top in the 90s, maybe delivering a championship. Beyond just the Blazers, a fully healthy Sabonis might have reshaped the center position altogether, inspiring a generation of versatile bigs way before the modern era truly arrived. LeBron James, he's in season number 22 and still playing like it's year 10. Nobody's ever hit 50,000 total points across regular season and playoffs until he did it. He's the all-time leading scorer and somehow also got over 10,000 rebounds and 10,000 assists. That combo is insane. He's played more regular season minutes than anyone ever, and he's done it while switching between positions like it's nothing. Point guard, forward, doesn't matter. He does it all. When he took his talents to Miami in 2010, it changed everything. Players started calling their own shots, building their own squads. Off the court, he's used his voice to push for change and inspired a whole generation. Fans around the world follow him. In the GOAT talk, he's always right in the middle of it. LeBron's legacy just keeps growing, and it's been unreal to watch. Michael Jordan, the other half of the GOAT debate. He led Chicago to 6 championships and grabbed Finals MVP every single time. 5 MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and he still holds the highest career scoring average ever. He averaged over 30 points in the regular season and over 33 in the playoffs. He wasn't just offense though. He won Defensive Player of the Year and made the All-Defense team 9 times. He owned big moments too. Nobody forgets those clutch shots or the flu game. He helped basketball explode worldwide after the Dream Team run, and his influence still spans the globe. He turned sneakers into a movement with Air Jordans and mixed sports with movies and Space Jam. He inspired Kobe, LeBron, and countless others chasing greatness. Twice inducted into the Hall of Fame, he's still pushing the game forward with the Jordan brand and his past role as team owner, Kareem. This man dominated the game for 20 seasons and did it his way. He dropped 38,387 points and held the scoring crown for nearly 39 years. That skyhook was untouchable. Nobody figured out how to stop it. Even in his late 30s, he was still dropping over 20 a night like it was nothing. He completely changed what people expected from a center. He moved with skill, had touch, and played with unmatched grace for a big man. His legacy goes way beyond hoops too. He's always used his platform to speak out on important issues, and that respect followed him into retirement. He even took home the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He made the Hall of Fame in 1995, and his name still gets brought up anytime someone talks about greatness. Kobe Bryant. He jumped straight from high school to the league and changed everything. He became an all-star by year 2 and helped the Lakers win 3 straight titles before turning 25. Later, he grabbed 2 more championships and 2 finals MVPs, showing he could lead with or without help. He dropped 81 points in 1 game and led the league in scoring twice. Even in his final game, he put up 60 and left with a bang. He played 20 seasons and retired as the Lakers' top scorer ever. His Mamba mentality inspired players across the world to push harder and stay focused. He mentored stars like Kyrie and Tatum and supported women's basketball with passion. He coached his daughter's team and constantly promoted the game on all levels. After retiring, he wrote books, won an Oscar, and stayed connected to basketball. His legacy's forever tied to greatness, purpose, and pushing boundaries every day. Wilt Chamberlain. This guy didn't just play the game, he bent it around him. He once dropped 100 points in a single night and pulled down 55 rebounds in another. He averaged over 50 points in a season and over 30 points and 22 rebounds for his whole career. Nobody's ever done that. He even led the league in assists once. Yes, as a center, his impact forced the league to literally change the rules, like widening the lane and adding offensive goaltending. His battles with Bill Russell turned the 60s into must-watch basketball and helped grow the league fast. He moved between teams with power, setting the stage for modern player control. Fans all over the world knew his name, and his style inspired future big men everywhere. He hit the Hall of Fame in 1978 and had his jersey retired by 3 franchises. Magic Johnson. He took over the league the second he showed up. As a rookie, he helped the Lakers win a title and even grabbed Finals MVP while playing every position on the floor. He led them to 5 championships during the Showtime era, running the floor with flash and fun that totally changed the game's vibe. He was a 3-time MVP, made 12 All-Star teams, and finished with the highest assist average in NBA history. He racked up 138 triple-doubles and always made his teammates better. Off the court, his announcement in 1991 shook the world and helped shift how people viewed HIV forever. He started his own foundation, built businesses, and invested in communities across the country. He hit the Hall of Fame twice, and his influence hasn't stopped since. Larry Bird. He stepped into Boston and instantly flipped the franchise around, taking them from losing to winning with just his presence. He won 3 championships and 3 straight MVPs, something only 2 others have ever done. He also grabbed 2 Finals MVPs and posted career numbers across the board, over 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists a night. He pulled off a 50-40-90 shooting season and made clutch shots feel routine. His rivalry with Magic brought the NBA to life in the 80s, and their battles pulled in fans everywhere. He was never the fastest, but his brain always stayed one step ahead. He led with toughness, shot lights out, and played every game like it mattered. After retiring, he coached the Pacers and even won Coach of the Year, then moved up to the front office and won Executive of the Year too. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm gonna start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Shaq. He stepped onto the court at over 7 feet and 325 pounds and made defenders wish they stayed home. He scored over 28,000 points, grabbed more than 13,000 rebounds, and won 4 titles, 3 with the Lakers and 1 with the Heat. He grabbed 3 straight Finals MVPs and was a 15-time All-Star. He also took home the league MVP in 2000 and absolutely bulldozed the competition. He broke backboards, forced rule changes, and made teams create entire strategies just to stop him. His mix of power and quickness redefined what a center could be. Off the court, he acted, rapped, and lit up TV screens everywhere. He gave back through charity work, helped grow the game globally, and brought fun to everything he touched. He joined the Hall of Fame in 2016 and still brings energy to basketball through broadcasting and mentoring the next generation. Tim Duncan. He came into the league and instantly made San Antonio a problem. As a rookie, he averaged over 21 points and nearly 12 boards, then grabbed Rookie of the Year without flinching. He led the Spurs to 5 championships and won 3 Finals MVPs while picking up 2 regular season MVPs too. He made 10 All-NBA first teams, 8 All-Defense first teams, and showed up to 15 All-Star games. His bank shot was money, his post game was deadly, and he redefined what a power forward could be. He kept the focus on team basketball, not flash, and helped turn the Spurs into one of the most consistent dynasties ever. He mentored Parker and Manu, leading with calm and showing everyone how it's done. After retiring, he stayed out of the spotlight, but stayed active, even coaching with the Spurs. Duncan's quiet dominance and smart play still shape how the game's taught, played, and won today. Bill Russell. He won 11 championships in 13 seasons, including 8 in a row, setting a record nobody's come close to. He grabbed over 22 rebounds a night for his career and once pulled down 51 in a single game. He won 5 MVPs, made 12 All-Star teams, and led with defense before it was cool. He didn't just dominate, he changed the way teams thought about winning. He became the first African-American head coach and won 2 titles while doing it. He stood for something bigger than basketball, fighting for civil rights and pushing for equality when it mattered most. His mentorship helped shape legends like Kareem, and his rivalry with Wilt became the stuff of legend. The NBA renamed the Finals MVP after him and even retired his number 6 across the league. Russell's legacy goes way beyond the hardwood. Steph Curry. He didn't just master the 3, he completely changed how the game's played. He became the first player ever to hit over 4,000 three-pointers and still shoots above 42% from deep. He's led Golden State to 4 titles and finally grabbed that Finals MVP in 2022. He's a 2-time league MVP, and in 2016, he became the first unanimous winner ever. He's been picked as an All-Star 11 times and keeps setting records even past age 37. He recently passed 25,000 points and broke Michael Jordan's mark for 30-point games by a guard over 35. His deep shooting made teams redesign their entire offenses, ditching size for speed and range. He inspired a whole generation to work on their shot, not just their hops. Off the court, he's launching golf tours, creating healthy drinks, and reaching fans around the world. Curry's impact, it's everywhere, and it's not slowing down. Kevin Durant, he came into the league as a skinny scorer and left defenses helpless for nearly 2 decades. He's passed 30,000 career points and is still one of the most efficient shooters ever, with multiple 50, 40, 90 seasons. He won Rookie of the Year, then 4 scoring titles, then an MVP, and then 2 rings with back-to-back finals MVPs in Golden State. He made the Thunder a contender, helped lift Brooklyn through tough years, and now keeps Phoenix in the hunt. At nearly 7 feet tall with handles like a guard and a jumper that never misses, he totally changed what a forward's supposed to be. He led the wave of positionless basketball and made the unicorn a real thing. His moves between teams sparked big debates, but his impact on the floor never dipped. Hakeem, he changed what it meant to be a big man in the NBA. He dropped over 21 points a game, led the league in blocks 3 times, and even pulled off a 200 block, 200 steal season, something nobody else has done. His dream shake was pure magic, fooling defenders every single time. He brought Houston back-to-back championships in the mid-90s and grabbed Finals MVP both years. He was the league MVP in 1994 and became the first international player to win it. He made 12 All-Star teams and kept dominating both ends of the floor. His footwork and agility, thanks to a soccer background, redefined center play forever. He opened the door for future international stars and helped make basketball global. After retiring, he mentored players and gave back to his community in Houston. The league even named the Defensive Player of the Year trophy after him. Hakeem's impact is everywhere. Kevin Garnett, he hit the league straight from high school and brought nonstop energy for 21 seasons. He turned Minnesota into a playoff team, won MVP in 2004, and still holds franchise records across the board. When he joined Boston, everything changed. They won the title in 2008, and he grabbed Defense Player of the Year that same season. He made 15 All-Star teams, earned 12 All-Defense selections, and always played with intensity that lit up every court. He wasn't just a big man, he dribbled, shot from mid-range, and locked down anyone in front of him. His style redefined the power forward position and helped make versatility the new standard. He mentored stars, led by example, and sparked a wave of players coming straight from high school. After retiring, his number 5 went into the rafters in Boston, and he made the Hall of Fame in 2020. Oscar Robertson, he was the original stat sheet killer, becoming the first player ever to average a triple-double for an entire season. He did it in 1962 with over 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists per game. He pulled that off for 5 straight seasons and ended with 181 career triple-doubles, a mark untouched for decades. He dropped over 26,000 points and nearly 10,000 assists in his career, while winning MVP in 1964 and a title with Milwaukee in 1971. At 6'5", he changed how people saw point guards forever, bringing size and skill in a way that hadn't been done. Off the court, he led the Players Union and pushed for free agency, changing the business side of the league. He hit the Hall of Fame in 1980, and both his teams retired his number. Oscar's legacy stretches far beyond the box score. Nikola Jokic, he went from a second-round pick to one of the most unstoppable forces the league's ever seen. He's a 3-time MVP, a Finals MVP, and led Denver to its first championship ever in 2023. He's dropped over 160 triple-doubles and even pulled one off in under 15 minutes, fastest in history. He became only the second center to pass 5,000 assists and once put up 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a single season. His vision and passing have totally changed what people expect from a center. He's got the best playoff efficiency ever and somehow outpaces legends like Michael and LeBron in PAR. He controls the game with his brain, not just size, and makes everyone around him better. He's inspired a wave of international stars and put Serbia on the map in a big way. Jokic has made unselfish, smart basketball the gold standard again. Dirk Nowitzki, he turned the big man blueprint upside down and made shooting cool for 7-footers. He scored over 31,000 points in 21 seasons, all with the Mavericks, and became one of the top 6 scorers in league history. He led Dallas to their first title in 2011 and took home Finals MVP, proving he could carry a team to the top. He won MVP in 2007 and made the All-Star game 14 times. His one-legged fadeaway became a nightmare for defenders and one of the most unstoppable shots ever. He hit the 50-40-90 mark, won a 3-point contest, and shot like a guard while standing 7 feet tall. He showed the world that international players could dominate, and his loyalty to Dallas became legendary. After retiring, he stayed involved as a mentor, giving back on and off the court. Dirk changed how the game looks, and his statue outside the arena says it all. Karl Malone, he powered through 19 seasons and stacked up nearly 37,000 points, holding second place on the all-time scoring list for years. He averaged 25 points a night and played in over 1,470 games, barely missing time and always delivering, just like his nickname promised. He teamed up with John Stockton to form one of the most iconic duos ever, running that pick and roll like clockwork in Utah. He won 2 MVPs, made 14 All-Star teams, and landed on 11 All-NBA first team. He brought Utah to 2 finals and nearly grabbed a ring with the Lakers in 2004. His strength and footwork redefined what a power forward could be. Tough, agile, and always in shape. He grabbed 2 Olympic golds and helped spread the game worldwide. Off the court, he stayed busy with businesses and community work in Louisiana. Dr. J, he brought style, flair, and power to the game in a way nobody had ever seen. He dominated the ABA first, winning 3 MVPs and 2 championships while turning heads with his gravity-defying dunks. When the leagues merged, he jumped into the NBA and kept flying, leading the Sixers to a title in 1983 and becoming the only player ever to win MVPs in both leagues. He scored over 30,000 total points and made high-flying play part of basketball's identity. He didn't just play above the rim, he lived there. His smooth moves and fierce leadership inspired generations, from Michael Jordan to LeBron James. He helped bring credibility to the ABA and made the NBA even bigger globally. Jerry West, he played 14 seasons with the Lakers and never let up for a second. He averaged 27 points a game, won a title in 1972, and somehow grabbed Finals MVP in a year his team lost. That's how clutch he was. He made 14 All-Star teams, 10 All-NBA first teams, and even led the league in both scoring and assists. His game was sharp, his jumper was pure, and his buzzer beater in the 1970 Finals from 60 feet out still lives on. After playing, he ran the Lakers front office and helped build the Showtime dynasty, and later brought in Kobe and Shaq. He picked talent like a pro and won Executive of the Year twice. He helped Golden State and Memphis too, and most recently guided the Clippers. His silhouette became the NBA logo, and his gold medal in 1960 kicked off his global impact. Kawhi Leonard, he's one of the few players who can lock you down and then drop 25 on the other end without breaking a sweat. He won Defensive Player of the Year twice and built his name on defense before becoming one of the league's best scorers too. He's one of only 3 players to win Finals MVP with 2 different teams. First with the Spurs in 2014, then with the Raptors in 2019 when he carried them to their first title ever. That postseason run included over 700 points and 1 unforgettable game winner. He's been the model two-way player and helped make versatility the standard. His quiet demeanor and focus helped reshape how stars carry themselves, and his use of load management has changed how teams handle health. Off the court, he's given back to communities while staying out of the spotlight. Moses Malone, he made history going straight from high school to the pros and proved right away he belonged. He became the king of the boards, grabbing more offensive rebounds than anyone in league history. Over 6,700 of them. He scored nearly 30,000 points and averaged over 20 for his career across 21 seasons. He won 3 MVPs, led the league in rebounding 6 times, and powered the Sixers to a title in 1983 with a 12-1 playoff run. He predicted fo, and he almost nailed it. He also led the league in scoring in 1982 and never took a night off. He played for multiple teams, but always brought toughness, rebounding, and buckets. He mentored younger players with his quiet work ethic and left a legacy of grit and dominance. His jerseys were retired in Houston and Philly, and his statue stands. Giannis, he went from selling goods in Greece to becoming one of the most dominant forces the league's ever seen. He's already passed 20,000 career points and keeps putting up crazy numbers. Over 30 points, 12 boards, and nearly 6 assists a night. He led Milwaukee to its first championship in 50 years with a 50-point masterpiece in the clincher, then followed it up by winning the NBA Cup and grabbing Cup MVP in 2024. He's won 2 MVPs, a Defense Player of the Year, and landed on countless All-NBA teams. His length, speed, and skill completely broke the mold for modern players. He signed a supermax to stay in Milwaukee, showing loyalty while still leading them to wins. Off the court, he's donated millions to fight homelessness and support pandemic relief. Elgin Baylor. He brought a whole new style to basketball before most fans even knew what hang time was. He averaged over 27 points and 13 rebounds a night across 14 seasons and once dropped 61 in an NBA Finals game, a record that still stands. He made 11 All-Star teams, 10 All-NBA First Teams, and won Rookie of the Year back in 1959. His acrobatic drives and mid-air moves completely changed how the game was played and laid the foundation for stars like Julius Erving and Michael Jordan. He never won a ring, even though he led the Lakers to 8 finals, but his greatness never faded. After retiring, he coached the Jazz and later became Executive of the Year with the Clippers. His number 22 hangs in the rafters, and a statue stands outside the arena in Los Angeles. Elgin wasn't just ahead of his time, he helped define the era that came after it. D-Wade, he turned Miami into a championship city and left the league better than he found it. He led the Heat to their first title in 2006, grabbing Finals MVP and putting up one of the greatest playoff runs ever. Then came 2 more rings with LeBron and Bosh in 2012 and 2013, setting the blueprint for superstar trios. He made 13 All-Star teams, won the scoring title in 2009, and owns almost every record in Heat history. His slashing style redefined the shooting guard spot and inspired a generation. He mentored teammates, led with heart, and stayed loyal to his roots. Off the court, he launched a foundation, fought for justice, and brought fashion to the front row. He joined ownership groups in Utah and Chicago, proving he's still shaping the sport. Now he's in the Hall of Fame, and his statue outside the arena says it all. Miami's forever his house. David Robinson. He joined the NBA after serving 2 years in the Navy, then immediately turned the Spurs into contenders. He won Rookie of the Year and eventually led San Antonio to 2 championships, one in 1999 and another in 2003. He scored 71 in a game, had a quadruple-double, and averaged over 21 points and 10 rebounds for his career. He won MVP in 1995, Defense Player of the Year in 1992, and made 10 All-Star teams. He formed the Twin Towers with Tim Duncan and helped build the Spurs dynasty with unselfish leadership. Off the court, he founded a school and earned praise for his character and philanthropy. He's got 2 Olympic gold medals, a spot in the Hall of Fame, and was named one of the 75 greatest ever. Steve Nash. He changed how teams run their offense. His tempo with the Phoenix Suns flipped everything. He pushed pace, moved the ball, and trusted everyone. That 7 seconds or less style didn't just look fun, it worked. His court vision made the whole team better, and his playmaking brought defense to its knees. He wasn't just flash. He led the league in assists 5 times. He also had 4 different seasons, shooting over 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. He's Canadian, but his influence stretched across the globe. He helped young international players believe they belonged in the league. After retiring, he took that leadership into coaching and mentoring. Even his foundation stepped up for underserved communities. He made it into the Hall of Fame in 2018. But I think his biggest impact is how he raised the standard for what point guards are supposed to be. Jason Kidd. He changed teams just by showing up. Every stop he made got better because he brought structure, vision, and control. He didn't care about scoring. He made things happen. He led the league in assists 5 times and finished his career with over 12,000 of them. That's wild. He turned the New Jersey Nets into a real threat, leading them to 2 straight finals when nobody expected it. He also played a huge role when Dallas finally won that title in 2011. He could lock up the best perimeter guys too, making 9 all-defensive teams. He finished with over 100 triple-doubles and nearly 3,000 steals. Then, when he moved into coaching, he didn't slow down. He helped the Lakers win a championship and led Dallas to the Western Conference Finals in his first year as their coach. He's still stacking wins and mentoring stars. Everything he does just makes his teams better. Charles Barkley. He broke the mold for what a power forward could be. He wasn't the tallest guy on the floor, but that didn't matter. He outworked and outmuscled everybody. He led the league in rebounds one season while standing under 6 feet 7 inches. That mix of strength and agility made him a nightmare to deal with. He scored over 23,000 points, grabbed over 12,000 rebounds, and dished out more than 4,000 assists. He took the Phoenix Suns to the finals during his most valuable player season, and every team he played for made the playoff. He helped redefine his position with versatility and skill. Off the court, he changed broadcasting forever. No one else brings that mix of honesty and comedy. He made 2 Hall of Fame entries and earned spots on both the 50 and 75 greatest player lists. Even now, his voice and presence are shaping the game in a different way. Allen Iverson. He flipped the league upside down just by being himself. He stood around 6 feet tall, but that didn't stop him from leading the league and scoring 4 times and dropping over 26 points per game for his career. He was fearless, quick, and tough, and his most valuable player season in 2001 proved it. That same year, he carried the Philadelphia squad all the way to the finals. He made 11 All-Star teams and 7 All-NBA teams, and finished top 25 in points and steals. But his influence went way beyond the court. He brought hip-hop culture right into the league, from the clothes to the attitude. Players today still follow the path he carved. He didn't change his style for anyone, and fans loved that. When he got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2016, it wasn't just for his numbers. It was because everything about him left a lasting impact. Chris Paul. Every team he joins wins more, and every team that loses him falls off. That's real impact. He's got over 12,000 assists, second only to John Stockton, and he's also second all-time in steals with over 2,600. That combo of vision and defense has made him one of the smartest players to ever run the point. He also passed 20,000 career points, so it's not like he's just passing, he scores too. When he played, teams got sharper, younger guys got better, and everybody played smarter. Off the court, he helped lead the Players Association for 8 straight years and was huge during league-wide decisions. His foundation backs education and community programs all over. He's on the NBA's 75th anniversary team, and even without a ring, he's still one of the best floor generals to ever do it. Scottie Pippen. He mastered every part of the game without needing the spotlight. His length, speed, and instincts made him one of the best defenders ever, locking down 4 different positions every night. He led the league in steals 1 year and made 8 all-defensive first teams. But it wasn't just defense. He passed like a guard, ran the floor, and scored when needed. He changed how forwards were used by playing that point forward role better than anyone. When Jordan left, he stepped up and led Chicago to 55 wins. He helped win 6 titles and made 7 All-Star teams while doing all the little things that don't always show up in the box score. He also dominated internationally with that dream team and earned 2 Hall of Fame inductions. His jersey's hanging in Chicago, and he's got a statue outside the arena. He paved the way for players who could do everything without needing to be the face. James Harden. He turned scoring into a science experiment. He won 3 straight scoring titles and just climbed into the top 12 all time for total points. But he's not just a scorer. He led the league in assists in 2 different seasons and adjusted his role across 5 different teams. He's also second all-time in 3-pointers made, passing Ray Allen without even breaking a sweat. That step-back 3 he made famous? It's everywhere now. He even forced rule changes with how he drew fouls. That's how much he influenced the game. He pushed Houston deep into the playoffs and kept every team competitive wherever he played. His look, his style, and that beard made him impossible to miss. Off the floor, he's helped underprivileged communities through his foundation and keeps giving back. 11 All-Star appearances, 1 Most Valuable Player award, and still chasing that title. He's been changing how basketball looks for over a decade. Isaiah Thomas. He ran the show for Detroit from day one and never left. 13 seasons of leadership that built the bad boys into champions. He dropped over 9,000 assists, nearly 19,000 points, and stayed top 5 in steals when he retired. He led Detroit to back-to-back titles, won Finals Most Valuable Player in 1990, and made 12 All-Star appearances. He wasn't tall, but he never backed down, setting the tone for future guards. He mastered ball handling, found open teammates, and kept pressure on defense every possession. His fight through injury in the finals is still one of the toughest moments in league history. Off the court, he coached, ran front offices, and helped communities. He made the 50 and 75 greatest players lists and got into the Hall of Fame in 2000. Nobody questioned his impact. He brought toughness and skill every single night. John Stockton. He didn't talk much. He just broke records and never stopped. He's still the all-time leader in both assists and steals, which says everything about how smart and consistent he was. Over 15,000 assists and over 3,000 steals? That's unreal. He played 19 straight seasons with Utah, made the playoffs every single year, and barely missed any games. Over 1,500 appearances, he ran the offense, found Karl Malone on pick and rolls like clockwork, and frustrated opponents with his defense every night. He set the single-season assist record too, averaging more than 14 per game. He made 2 finals and never stopped being a steady leader. He wasn't flashy, but he made the point guard spot all about control and decision-making. Off the court, he represented the United States on the Dream Team and kept a professional image the whole time. 2 Hall of Fame nods and his jerseys retired. His impact never faded. Russell Westbrook. He played with fire every single night and never slowed down. He redefined what a point guard could be, mixing elite scoring, explosive athleticism, and constant energy. He's the king of triple-doubles, breaking Oscar Robertson's record and reaching 200 of them by 2024. He even averaged a triple-double for 3 straight seasons, which nobody saw coming. He's passed 26,000 points, led the league in assists 3 times, and won Most Valuable Player in 2017. He's been a scoring champ, a 9-time All-Star, and made the All-NBA team 9 times too. He helped lead Oklahoma City to the finals and gave every team he joined an edge with his drive. His impact goes beyond stats. He changed how the position is played. Off the court, his fashion and community work made him one of the league's most recognizable stars. He's inspired a generation to play with intensity and never back down. Patrick Ewing. He anchored the Knicks for over a decade and brought toughness every night. He scored over 24,000 points, grabbed more than 11,000 rebounds, and blocked nearly 3,000 shots. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1986, made 11 All-Star teams, and earned spots on the league's 50 and 75 greatest player lists. His 2 finals runs in the 90s kept New York in the spotlight, even without a title. He was a shot-blocking machine, but also had a reliable mid-range jumper, which helped stretch the floor forward before centers were expected to. He helped evolve the position while staying true to the physical grind of old-school basketball. As a Jamaican-born player, he opened the door for more international talent. He won 2 Olympic gold medals and later gave back as a coach at both the pro and college level. The Knicks retired his jersey, and he's still helping the franchise today. Clyde Drexler, known as the Glide, Drexler was one of the most complete players ever. He played with incredible athleticism, earning his nickname for his smooth, effortless style. He was a force on offense, defense, and as a playmaker. Drexler had a legendary career with the Portland Trail Blazers and Houston Rockets, leaving his mark in both places. He led Portland to 2 NBA Finals and helped the Rockets capture a championship in 1995. Over his career, he racked up more than 22,000 points, 6,677 rebounds, and 6,125 assists. He was named an NBA All-Star 10 times and was a key member of the U.S. Olympic Dream Team. His versatility set the bar for future generations of basketball players. His jersey number is retired by both Portland and Houston. John Havlicek. Havlicek was a legendary swingman, dominating both shooting guard and small forward roles. His versatility was unmatched, and he excelled in all aspects of the game: scoring, rebounding, and playmaking. Over his 16 seasons with the Boston Celtics, he accumulated more than 26,000 points, 8,007 rebounds, and 6,100 assists. Havlicek's clutch performances are unforgettable, especially his game-saving steal in the 1965 Eastern Conference Finals. He was an 8-time NBA champion, a 13-time NBA All-Star, and a Finals MVP in 1974. Havlicek revolutionized the 6-man role, setting a new standard for basketball. His tenacity on defense earned him 8 all-defensive team selections. Post-retirement, he continued to make an impact through community efforts. His number 17 jersey was retired by the Celtics, and in 2022, the NBA renamed the 6th Man of the Year award in his honor, Reggie Miller. A true pioneer of three-point shooting, Miller changed the game. He spent his entire 18-year NBA career with the Indiana Pacers, becoming the franchise's all-time leading scorer, known for his clutch performances, especially in big moments, like his 8 points in just 8.9 seconds against the New York Knicks in 1995. Miller made over 25,000 points, 4,141 assists, and 4,182 rebounds. He was a 5-time NBA All-Star and a 3-time All-NBA third-team selection. His career also featured a remarkable 50-40-90 season in 1994. Miller's impact went beyond stats. He revolutionized the three-point shot, setting a standard for future generations. After retiring, he moved to broadcasting and now serves as NBC Sports lead game analyst. His legacy as one of the most clutch players ever continues to inspire today's shooters. Shawn Marion. His shot looked like it broke every rule, but he never cared. He stood kind of narrow, with his right foot sneaking a little forward and his shoulders twisted like he was mid-turn instead of setting up clean. His knees bent just enough to keep him quick, not like those shooters who look like they're charging up the spring. Then there's the ball placement, which was way too low, like he was hiding it from the defense before launching it. He scooped it up fast with his elbow bending sharp and tight. The release? Wild. He'd flick it from around his chin, almost shoving it at the rim. The ball flew low, flatter than normal, but it got out of his hands before defenders could react. His rhythm felt rushed and awkward, but it worked because he trusted it. Results beat style, and Marion proved that daily. Chuck Hayes. It felt like watching someone try to lift a fridge while shooting a basketball at the same time. His stance stayed wide, like he was bracing for impact, with his right foot barely ahead, but his shoulders kind of drifting left. His knees bent deep, looking more like a wrestler than a shooter, and his upper body leaned forward like he expected someone to crash into him. Hayes gripped the ball tight, both hands clenching it like he was afraid it'd escape. His right hand sat under the ball, but too flat, and his left hand crowded the top, basically smothering the poor thing. His shot motion crawled from chest to face, with his elbow flaring out awkwardly. When he finally let it fly, it pushed off low from around his mouth, flat as a pancake, and with barely any spin. Defenders never panicked, since his slow, jerky motion gave them all the time in the world. Joakim Noah. His shot felt like it came from another planet, but it stuck around way longer than anyone expected. He stood with his feet shoulder width apart, right foot sneaking forward, knees bent just enough to look uncomfortable. The ball started low, hugged tight to his chest, like he was scared it might roll away. His elbows flared out like airplane wings, and his left hand refused to let go, hanging on far too long. When he finally started the motion, it looked like he was trying to sling the ball sideways instead of at the rim. His wrist twisted awkwardly, sending the ball spinning with that wild side spin every time. He barely jumped, legs staying stiff, while his shoulders twisted off balance. The follow-through, practically non-existent. His hand froze halfway up, fingers stretched like he was waving goodbye. The flat, wobbly arc of the shot rarely gave him forgiveness, but Noah stuck with it, fearless as ever, no matter how rough it looked. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Michael Kidd. Gilchrist. His shot looked like he was wrestling the ball instead of shooting it. He set up with his feet a little narrower than shoulder width, right foot forward, but his body twisted slightly left, throwing off his aim before the ball even left his hand. His knees bent, but the stance felt more like he was bracing for a charge than about to launch a jumper. He held the ball low, around his chest, gripping it like it might run away. His left hand clamped on way too long, basically steering the ball like a wheel. The motion was slow, like he had to convince himself to shoot every time. His elbow flared out, creating an awkward angle, and when he released, it left from his mouth level, flat, and rushed. The shot spun weird, sometimes wobbling in the air. Defenders barely respected it, and honestly, neither did he. Despite it all, he kept grinding, never letting a broken jumper stop him from impacting the game. Ben Simmons. His shot looks like it's trapped in slow motion, stuck between two minds every time he releases. He sets up tall, barely bending his knees, standing like he's posing for a photo instead of getting ready to shoot. The ball sits low at his chest, gripped tight by both hands. When he starts the motion, his elbow flares out badly, twisting the ball sideways before he even lets it go. His wrist snaps stiff, with barely any backspin, and the shot flies flat, like it's racing to hit the front of the rim. He hardly uses his legs, barely jumping, relying too much on his arms to force it up. The result? Wild misses, air balls, and rim bricks that defenders ignore completely. His hesitation is brutal to watch, but even with all the form's disasters, Simmons keeps attacking games with everything else he's got when he plays. Kevin Martin. His shot looked like someone fast-forwarded a catapult, but man did it work. He stood pretty narrow, upright, almost casual, with his right foot sneaking forward and his shoulders turning left, just enough to look crooked. His knees barely bent, like he'd rather let his arms do all the work. It was just a shove to the motion. When he pulled up, his elbow flared out, giving the shot a wild side angle. His release sat around eye level, higher than some unorthodox shooter, but still not textbook. His wrist flicked sharp, sending the ball with decent backspin, though sometimes it wobbled from the guide hand's interference. The shot flew quick, with a nice arc that kept defenders guessing. Martin's form broke all the rules, but with a fast trigger and relentless confidence, he turned that awkward slingshot into a serious scoring weapon. Shaq. His shot looked like he was trying to throw a medicine ball into a thimble. He stood wide, barely bending his knees, with that 7-foot frame towering over the line, but giving him no advantage. He held the ball way too low, practically near his waist, and his giant hands wrapped it like he was palming a toy, his left hand twisting the ball awkwardly, just as he let it go. When he shot, it was more of a heave than a flick, with his elbow flaring out and his wrist snapping stiff, sending the ball on a flat, clumsy path. There was barely any spin, and misses flew everywhere. Hard bricks, air balls, rim grazers. Under pressure, his motion slowed, his shoulders tensed, and the whole thing fell apart even more. Still, despite the wild misses and defenders grinning at the free line, Shaq kept firing away. His form might have been a disaster, but he bulldozed through it the same way he bulldozed everything else. Lonzo Ball. His shot his rookie year looked like he was launching a frisbee across his body, hoping it'd find the rim. He started with the ball low by his right hip, then dragged it across to his left side, like he was passing something to himself mid-air. His right elbow flared, and instead of going straight up, the ball shot across at an awkward angle, releasing near his left temple. His left hand didn't help matters, pushing the ball and messing with the spin. His feet were never fully lined up, with his right foot sneaking forward and knees bending inward, making his whole lower body feel out of sync. The jump was off balance, and the rhythm felt stuck in 2 gears, pausing right at the top before he awkwardly let it fly. Defenders barely respected the shot, sagging off and daring him to pull. Even with small tweaks, like trying to speed up his release, the form stayed rough all year. His rookie numbers were brutal, and it felt like his shot fought against him every single game. Dick Barnett. His shot looked like punctuation in motion, and defenders never figured it out. He exploded upward, both legs kicking back wildly, especially that right leg, which snapped behind him like he was mid-karate move. His body tilted forward just enough to balance the madness below, making the whole thing look like a flying question mark. He shot left-handed, straight from the peak of his jump, locking his elbow tight and snapping his wrist to fire the ball with a clean backspin. His follow-through hit that perfect gooseneck, fingers pointing down like he was pressing a button in midair. The rhythm of his shot was just as funky as the form itself. He worked in a quick hop step, stayed balanced despite the kick, and used it to freeze defenders in their track. He even taunted them mid-shot with that famous line, "Fall back, baby." The awkward timing and surprise release point made it a nightmare to contest. Barnett's form might have broken every textbook rule, but it worked so well, he dropped over 15,000 points and became a key piece of championship history. Manute Bol. His shot looked like he was catapulting the ball from a rooftop, and honestly, it kinda worked for him. He launched from the right side of his body, not dead center, sending the ball on a funky sideways path. His follow-through pointed more to the side than at the rim, which felt about right considering the rest of the motion. He barely used his legs, keeping them staggered with a small bend, relying almost entirely on those incredibly long arms. His release point? Absolutely ridiculous. Around 10 feet high, so nobody even bothered contesting. He didn't snap his wrist much either, mostly just extended his arm like he was placing the ball on a high shelf. That left the shot with a flat arc and awkward side spin. But somehow, he squeezed out just enough success to keep defenses honest. Opponents gave him space, assuming he'd pass or brick, and Manute took advantage. Under Don Nelson, he let threes fly, and even though the numbers weren't pretty, his confidence grew. His form rewrote what people expected from Giants, laying the early groundwork for today's stretch bigs. Rick Barry. People love to clown the underhand free throw, but Barry turned it into a straight-up weapon. He grabbed the ball like he was cradling something fragile, fingers spread out, thumbs aiming at each other under the ball. His whole setup looked calm, but it packed serious precision. Arms swung up smooth from his sides, almost like a pendulum, and he let the ball roll off his fingertips with zero drama. No flicky wrists, no jumping, just pure control from his shoulders and back. The release? Right around chest height, with his palms facing the sky like he was serving it up on a platter. His stance kept everything grounded, feet set shoulder width apart, knees with just a little bend, weight rolling from heels to toes. The ball left his hands with this perfect high arc, a soft spin keeping it steady, and it dropped into the rim like it had no other option. Barry loved that it cut down on errors. Less moving parts, less nonsense. Even though people laughed, he stuck with it and made it lethal. Barry's routine never changed, and that's exactly why his free throws felt automatic, no matter what. Shea, his jumper is wild because it breaks so many rules, but somehow ends up being pure money. He starts with this slightly staggered stance, right foot a bit forward, knees bent just enough, and weight bounced through the middle of his feet. When he dips into the shot, it's smooth. No awkward lean, just clean motion straight down to build power. He does not jump super high, but he gets just enough lift to stay controlled and balanced. What really jumps out is how he almost always lands in the same exact spot, which keeps everything repeatable. His upper body is all about precision. He brings the ball up on his right side, keeps that elbow tight at a perfect angle, and snaps his wrist at the release point right around his forehead. His hand placement is smart too, with his shooting hand behind the ball and the guide hand just helping it stay steady. The arc is medium but reliable, and he's tightened up that release time a ton since college. The best part, defenders hate it. His high release and unpredictable pace make contesting a nightmare. He worked hard to cut wasted movement, and it's paying off everywhere. Tyrese Halliburton, his shot looks like it should not work, but somehow it keeps dropping. He barely leaves the ground, using this set shot style that looks more like a casual warm-up than an NBA move. What really throws people off is how he releases from his left side, even though he shoots right-handed. His elbow flares out at this wide angle, and instead of a classic wrist snap, It feels like he is pushing the ball forward, feet staggered, knees barely bent, and most of his weight leans back when he fires it off. He keeps the release fast, around half a second, and even though it comes from chin level, it still works. The arc is decent, the spin is steady, and he has made it clear that speed matters more than flash. Back in college, he had the same strange form, but now it is even quicker. He added a little hop to get in rhythm, and his numbers have kept climbing. Defenders are always guessing. His odd timing and side release make it hard to contest, and he does not lose confidence after misses. He kept the form everyone doubted, and it turned into pure production. Bill Cartwright. His shot really looked like something out of a backyard experiment, but the results were hard to argue with. He would crouch down so deep, it seemed like he was about to tie his shoes, holding the ball low between his legs before launching it with a two-handed push. The release came from behind his head with barely any follow-through, and the ball flew out on this flat, almost line drive arc. For a guy his size, that 77% free throw mark was no joke. When he stepped out for jump shots, the setup stayed just as quirky. He kept the ball slightly behind his head, elbow flaring out wide, and the follow-through looked like a shot put. There was hardly any spin, almost like he wanted the ball to just knuckle its way in. His feet spread way past shoulder width, with his weight pushed back and barely any lift off the floor. Despite all the jokes about how strange it looked, it kept working. Coaches never bothered to fix it because the ball kept finding the net. Cartwright showed that as long as the shot goes in, no one cares how you make it happen. Markelle Fultz. His jumper's been through more phases than a reality show contestant, but somehow he kept pushing forward. Back at Washington, his shot was smooth as ever, with a high release, quick trigger, and perfect balance. The backspin was tight, the base was strong, and he could pull up off the dribble like it was second nature. He knocked down over 41% from deep in college, and his mid-range was just as dangerous. Then came Philadelphia, and everything changed. His motion got stuck with a hitch at the top, the release point dropped closer to his chest, and his follow-through turned into more of a push. That shoulder issue wrecked his mechanics, and he even had trouble lifting his arms fully. The nerve problems killed his control, and all kinds of bad habits crept in. Confidence, pretty much gone. But in Orlando, things started climbing back. He lowered the release a bit more, flared the elbow out, and built a two-motion shot with a small pause. His free throws climbed big time, and his mid-range touch came back strong. Fultz rebuilt everything from the ground up. And it's proof that determination still matters when talent alone is not enough. Ronnie Brewer. His jumper was the kind of shot that made you pause for a second, wondering how it even left his hands. Because of a waterslide accident, as a kid, his right elbow stayed permanently bent, forcing him into this awkward side-loaded release. Instead of the usual hand under the ball, his shooting hand sat right on the side, and the ball came out flat from his chest. His follow-through barely existed, which left the ball spinning less than once on its way to the rim. His stance was wide, feet set apart, but the weight leaned back like he was bracing for a gust of wind. He barely jumped at all, maybe 4 to 6 inches, turning the whole thing into more of a push shot than an actual jump. When he shot free throws, it got even funkier, like a two-handed shove. Still, he managed around 67% in the league, which honestly feels like a miracle. Defenders never respected the shot and sagged off constantly, daring him to fire away. But Brewer survived by leaning into his defense and slashing. He found ways to stick around, even if his jumper never fully cooperated. Larry Bird. His shot looked like it belonged in a textbook, but with just enough weirdness to make it all his own. He fired it off from above his right ear, getting that high release around 8 feet 5 inches up, which made blocking him basically pointless. His wrist action came from endless wrist exercises growing up, snapping clean to give the ball a perfect spin. Bird's follow-through stayed locked in, fingers pointing down like he was hanging onto an invisible shelf. The base of his shot was simple but sharp. He stood with his feet shoulder-width apart, right foot just ahead for balance, knees bent just right to shift weight smoothly from his heels to his toes. He never jumped much, only about 10 to 12 inches, but with his quick lift and release, defenders couldn't close in time. His arc sat comfortably around 48 to 52 degrees. Not super high, but dead on precise. Even injuries couldn't throw him off. After jamming up his finger and dealing with back problems later in his career, Bird kept making adjustments, but never lost that smooth touch. His obsessive practice and confidence turned his shot into pure consistency. Marcus Camby. His jumper looked like it came from a guy trying to invent basketball mid-game, but somehow it found a way to work just enough. At the free throw line, Camby had this odd habit of circling the ball around his waist before shooting, like he was warming up for a magic trick. Instead of lifting the ball up smoothly, he shoved it forward like a chess pass. With barely any arc, his wrist flick was all over the place, sometimes spinning sideways sometimes not spinning at all. His feet were not exactly steady either, shifting mid-shot and throwing off his balance. Despite the chaos, he still managed over 63% from the line, which honestly feels like a small miracle. From mid-range, things stayed weird. He loaded the ball way behind his head, his elbow stuck out wide, and he barely jumped, using mostly his arms to power it. Defenders gave him space, assuming he would miss, but that space let him find just enough rhythm. Camby never forced it though. He stuck to defense, rebounding, and smart shots. His form was never pretty, but it got the job done, just enough to keep defenders guessing. Cameron Payne. His jumper looks like he's slingshotting the ball across a parking lot, but it keeps going in, so defenders just have to deal with it. As a lefty, he brings the ball awkwardly across his body to the right side, firing it from near his forehead in this diagonal motion that feels like it is fighting gravity. His elbow flares out, adding side spin instead of the usual clean backspin, and his follow-through is short and snappy, with his fingers weirdly pointing left when he finishes. His lower body does not follow the normal lefty script either. He sets up with a wide stance, right foot slightly ahead, and bends his knees deep to load power. He barely leaves the floor, more like a set shot with a tiny hop, but the ball still gets out fast. The arc is flatter than most, but the quick release keeps defenders too slow to react. Early in his career, defenders sagged off him like he was invisible. Now, he is torching them, shooting a high clip from deep with the Knicks. Payne's shot might be funky, but he owned it, mastered it, and made it work perfectly. Tayshaun Prince. His jumper always looked like it was going sideways, but it kept finding the bottom of the net. Even though he shot right-handed, he let the ball go from his left side, near his left temple, giving the whole thing this diagonal, across the body motion. His elbow stuck out at a wide angle, which sent the ball off with more side spin than clean backspin. He barely snapped his wrist, ending the shot with more of a pushing motion, fingers pointing awkwardly to the left. His base was solid though, with a wide stance and his right foot a bit ahead, which is not typical for a right-handed shooter. He bent his knees deep to power up, but barely left the floor when he let it fly. His arc was lower than average, but with that long frame and wingspan, it did not matter. He got the shot off quickly, before defenders could react. What saved him was consistency. He kept the same form every time, which made him reliable in tight games. His length gave defenders trouble, and he stayed confident no matter how strange the form looked. Prince owned his style, and it worked. Andris Biedrин. His shot looked like he was desperately trying to hand the ball to the rim, but without much success. At the free throw line, his routine turned into a nervous ritual, full of false starts and awkward resets. Instead of lifting the ball cleanly, he pushed it from chest level, barely using his wrist at all. The result? A flat, shaky arc that never had much of a chance. His legs stayed stiff, barely bending at the knees, so there was almost no energy in the motion. The numbers were brutal. Across his career, he hovered around 50% from the line, but at his worst, he dropped to 11%. Opponents figured it out fast, baiting him into fouls because they knew he dreaded the line. When he stepped outside the paint, it got even messier. His set point floated behind his head, the guide hand often messed with the release, and he never even attempted a three. What really crushed him though was the mental side. Injuries and harsh coaching chipped away at whatever confidence he had left. Biedrins never adapted, and his shot stayed stuck in the same broken loop. Reggie Miller. His jumper always had that wild little detail where his shooting wrist smacked into his guide hand, making this unmistakable clicking sound on release. It happened because his elbow flared out more than usual, and he kept his left hand stiff instead of letting it drift away. When he snapped that right wrist forward with all that torquing, the two hands collided like clockwork. The result? A shot that looked strange, but dropped like rain. He brought the ball up to around his forehead, but kept it slightly off to the right side. That elbow sticking out about 15 degrees only added to the odd motion, yet his fingers still finished aimed dead at the rim for perfect backspin. His stance stayed square, feet locked in and pointed straight ahead, giving him a stable base to fire from. He never bothered with the dip either. He caught and let it fly in one smooth motion, making it tough to contest. That quirky wrist click became a built-in rhythm keeper. It made his release quick, his spin tight, and his form repeatable. Miller never cared about textbook looks, he cared about buckets, and he delivered constantly. Probably the greatest shooter ever with an unorthodox shot. Suganu, his shot looked less like a jumper and more like a desperate pass to nobody, especially at the free throw line. Before every attempt, he shuffled nervously, resetting his feet over and over like he was stalling for time. Then, instead of lifting the ball up, he pushed it straight out from his chest, almost like a two-handed soccer throw. His wrist barely moved, which left the ball floating without spin, knuckling toward the rim with no real touch. His knees stayed stiff too, so the whole thing relied purely on his arm. The result was rough. He lived at 42% from the line and even had seasons sinking under 30%. Teams gladly hacked him, knowing he would give them free misses. In live play, it was no better. Diop stuck to dunks, and the occasional slow, flat mid-range shot with his elbow flaring wide. Forget three-pointers, he never took a single one in 12 seasons. He started playing late, and it showed. His stiff body mechanics and shaky confidence made improvement nearly impossible. Diop's defense kept him around, but his shot always held him back, stuck in the same broken cycle. Wilt Chamberlain. His regular shot felt like he was trying to muscle the ball into the basket with pure arm strength and zero finesse. He fired free throws from around chest level, pushing the ball out stiffly instead of lifting it smoothly. The arc was too flat, hovering around 35 degrees, which left him barely any margin for error. His wrist barely snapped, which meant the ball came off his hand with wobbly, inconsistent spin. Even worse, his guide hand sometimes got in the way, sending the ball sideways like a wild pass. His lower body did him no favors either. He kept his knees stiff and skipped the natural flow from legs to arms, relying completely on his upper body. Unsurprisingly, his free throw numbers stayed brutal, stuck around 51% and sometimes even dipping under 40%. Teams fouled him on purpose, knowing he would clank away free points. For a short stretch though, he switched to the underhand shot. Suddenly, everything clicked. Using his legs and core, he flicked the ball upward in a smooth pendulum motion. The arc got higher, the touch got softer, and his accuracy skyrocketed. But pride pulled him back, and he left the better shot behind. Matt Bonner. His jumper looked like he was launching a shot put across the gym, but it landed right where it needed to. He shot from the right side of his body, giving the motion this awkward diagonal path. His elbow flared out at about 30 degrees, which threw a bit of side spin on the ball. Instead of a clean wrist snap, he finished with more of a push, and his fingers pointed off to the left rather than toward the rim. His base kept him steady though. He set his feet shoulder width apart and bent his knees deep to power the shot, relying on his legs way more than his arms. He barely left the floor, just 6 to 8 inches of lift, making it feel like a hybrid between a set shot and a jumper. Even with that flat arc around 40 degrees, he got the ball out fast enough to beat defenders closing out. Bonner's real trick was consistency. He repeated the same form every single time, and at 6'10", his high release made it tough to block. Defenders often gave him space, and he took full advantage, knocking down shots at an elite clip. Derek Fisher. His shot was not the flashiest, but it always felt built for the moment. He fired from a high release point, right around his forehead, which helped him get the ball off, clean over bigger defenders. His elbow flared just a little, about 15 degrees, which gave his follow-through a straighter finish instead of that textbook tuck. His wrist snap was sharp without being dramatic, giving the ball steady backspin every time. The guide hand stayed out of the way, never messing with the release. His base was pure balance. Feet set shoulder width apart, squared up perfectly to the rim. He bent his knees just enough to get power, then popped up with barely any lift, maybe 6 to 8 inches, leaning more on quickness than explosion. His shot came out fast, around half a second, with a tight, straight trajectory and hardly any drift, even with the defender chasing him. What made it work? He kept it simple. Same form, same speed, every single time. Under pressure, when defenders expected hesitation, he just let it fly. Fisher's form lived in that perfect space between clean mechanics and pure confidence, and in clutch time, it never let him down. Jamal Wilkes. His shot looked like he was tossing laundry over his shoulder, but somehow it worked like a charm. He loaded the ball behind his right ear, with his elbow flared way out, giving the motion this strange, sidewinding path. Because of that angle, the ball came off with this odd sideways spin, but it still dropped at nearly 50% from the field over his career. His release ended quickly, with barely any follow-through, and his guide hand stayed stiff instead of falling away, which flattened out the arc around 40 degrees. His footwork stayed solid though. He kept his feet square to the basket, giving him a reliable base. He did not jump much at all, maybe 6 to 8 inches, leaning on his long arms and pure touch rather than spring. Defenders had a hard time reading the shot because of the strange windup, and by the time they reacted, the ball was already gone. Wilkes never cared about textbook looks. His smooth, quick release kept defenders guessing and helped him pile up points in any situation. Al Horford. His shot has come a long way from the days when he barely stepped outside the paint. Early in his career, he fired from chest level with a clunky 2-motion release, pausing after the gather before letting it go. He stuck to short jumpers and back to the basket moves, rarely even thinking about the three-point line. Through his first 8 seasons, he hit just 1 3, and nobody cared because he was locked in the post. But then, he flipped the script. Horford raised his release point to forehead level and smoothed out that load phase to get rid of the clunky dip. He tucked his elbow tighter, cleaning up the side spin and making his shot quicker and cleaner, although he still holds the top of the ball kinda. But suddenly, he was draining threes at over 34%, hunting open looks from the corners like a seasoned shooter. Later in his career, Horford's shot got even faster, dropping to around half a second from catch to release. He killed defenders on pick and pops and trailing in transition. His base stayed wide and stable, guide hand cleanly falling away, and his backspin stayed tight. Horford mastered evolution, turning himself into the model stretch big, Sam Perkins. His shot looked like a catapult winding up from the side, but it worked way better than it had any right to. Even though he shot right-handed, he brought the ball up from his right side at a diagonal angle, with his elbow flaring out wide at about 30 degrees. That angle threw side spin on the ball instead of pure backspin, and instead of snapping his wrist cleanly, he finished with a gentle push, his fingers oddly pointing left. His lower body kept him steady. He planted his feet shoulder-width apart and bent his knees deep, using his legs to power the shot. He barely jumped, maybe a few inches, depending more on arm strength and a soft touch to get the ball there. Even with a flat arc around 40 degrees, his high release point and quick trigger, around 0.6 of a second, made it tough to contest. Early in his career, he hardly shot from deep, but once he leaned into it, he became a legit weapon. Perkins forced big men to guard the perimeter, a wild concept back then. He carved out space with that funky form and proved you do not need perfect mechanics to make defenses panic. Michael Adams. His shot looked like he was launching a fast pitch at the rim, but defenders couldn't stop it. He let the ball fly from chest level, off to his right side, using a motion that felt closer to a catapult than a clean jumper. His elbow stuck out around 45 degrees, adding this wild side spin to the ball. His wrist barely snapped at all, making the whole shot look like a two-handed push more than a flick. His stance was just as strange, setting up with a wide base and his left foot forward, which is not typical for a right-handed shooter. He skipped the dip, using torque from his upper body instead of power from his legs. His jump was tiny, just 4 to 6 inches, which made it feel like a hop instead of a true leap, but the quick release at about 0.4 of a second kept defenders helpless. Adams turned his size into an advantage. At 5'11", his funky form let him shoot over taller players with ease. He leaned into that unorthodox rhythm, and it paid off, making him one of the deadliest long-range threats of his time. Walking bucket. These dudes make dropping the ball in the hoop look like a cakewalk. No matter who's playing D, no matter where they're at on the court, they're a scoring machine. Forget waiting for some fancy play. They just snatch the ball and start cooking. Mid-range, wet, beyond the arc, cash. At the rim, try and stop them. They've got that natural juice and a cool-as-hell vibe that leaves defenders tripping over themselves. Even on an off night, they're still popping off for 20 like it's nothing. Passing, decision-making, not their strong suit, but you can't take your eyes off them for a second. Once they catch fire, it's curtains for whoever's guarding them. Their whole game plan is simple. Toss them the rock and clear the lane. Michael Beasley, dude was a walking bucket before it was cool. Miami to New York, that silky lefty jumper, slick footwork, and wild creativity were straight fire. Didn't matter how many minutes he got, points were piling up, no question. 3 and D player. These guys are the unsung heroes who keep the game tight and the scoreboard lit. They're all about two things: draining threes and locking down defense like it's their day job. Give them an open look from deep, splash city. They're not shy about letting it fly, but flip the script, and they're hounding the other team's best scorer, making life miserable with quick hands and pesky D. They don't need the ball all game, they just chill in the corner, ready to fire or slide into passing lanes for a steal. No flash, no fuss, just clutch shots and gritty stops. They're the glue that holds the squad together, always in the right spot, doing the dirty work. When the game's on the line, they're either swishing a dagger or swatting a drive. Danny Green, dude was the 3 and D king. He'd camp out beyond the arc, bury big shots, and then clamp up the other team's star. Rings on his fingers prove it. Mr. Reliable brought the heat every time. Sniper. These shooters are straight up assassins with a basketball in their hands. They live to launch bombs from downtown, turning the court into their personal firing range. Give them a sliver of daylight, good luck. They're already cashing out with a silky 3. It's not just skill, it's ice-cold confidence and a stroke so pure, it's like the ball's got GPS. They don't mess around with fancy dribbles. Just catch, shoot, and watch the net dance. Defenders can be all up in their grill, but it doesn't matter. They're still splashing. When they get hot, it's a full-on barrage. Buckets raining down like a thunderstorm. They're not here to dunk or dish. Their job is to stretch the floor and bury shots that make the crowd lose it. Klay Thompson, the sniper himself. From Golden State's dynasty days, he'd pull up from anywhere, drain them in bunches, and barely blink. That smooth release and zero hesitation, lethal. Whether it's Game 6 or a random Tuesday, Klay's lighting it up. 60 points in 3 quarters. Swiss Army knife. These players are the do-it-all wizards who've got every tool in the bag. They're not just one-trick ponies. They can score, defend, pass, rebound, whatever the squad needs. Need a clutch bucket? They've got you. A lockdown stop? They're on it. Crashing the boards or dishing a slick assist? Yup, that too. They're the ultimate team players, flipping the game however it's gotta go. No spotlight hogging, just pure hustle and versatility that keeps everyone else humming. They might not drop 40, but they'll stuff the stat sheet and grind out wins. On offense, they're crafty. On D, they're scrappy, always ready to switch gears. Give them any role, and they'll make it work like magic. Josh Hart, the Swiss Army knife in human form. He's diving for loose balls, hitting timely threes, guarding anybody, and snagging boards like a beast. Doesn't matter where you stick him. Starter, bench, big minutes, small. He's bringing energy and making plays. Hart's the guy every coach dreams of. Cardio king. These guys are the marathon champs who log crazy minutes. Think 48 straight and still finish with 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 everything. But here's the wild part. They're secretly awesome. They're not stat sheet stuff. They're the glue holding it all together. Running the floor nonstop, they guard the best guy, disrupt plays, and set killer screens, all without touching the ball. Offense, they're spacing the floor or cutting hard, even if the box score says zilch. Defense, they're a brick wall, wearing out scores with relentless energy. Coaches love them because they're everywhere. All game, no breaks, no complaints, just pure hustle. Teammates feed off their vibe, and somehow, the team's better with them out there. It's like they've mastered the art of invisible impact. Tony Snell, the ultimate cardio king. From Chicago to Atlanta, he played every tick of the clock, and with a goose egg across the board, yet still shift the game. 0 stats, all heart. Tony's the guy who'd run forever and make winning look easy. Stats be damned. Glue guy. These players are the unsung MVP who hold the squad together like duct tape on a busted bumper. They don't chase stats. 0 ego, all team. They'll dive for loose balls, take charges, or hit a clutch 3 when it matters most. Defense, they're scrapping, switching, and shutting down threats. Offense, they're setting picks, spacing the floor, or dishing a quiet assist. They're not the star, but without them, the whole vibe falls apart. Every play, they're hustling. 48 minutes of grit and smarts. Teammates lean on their energy. Coaches trust them to keep things steady. They're the heartbeat, filling gaps and making everyone better, even if the box score sleeps on them. It's all about winning, not spotlight. PJ Washington, the glue guy incarnate. He's banging in the paint, stretching the defense with threes, and guarding anybody, all with 0 fuss. Whether it's 10 points or 2, he's grinding, crashing boards, and keeping the flow tight. PJ is the dude. Every roster needs to stick it all together. Floor general. These maestros run the show like a point guard, wizard with the game on a string. They see 3 steps ahead, 0 panic, all vision. Directing traffic, they're calling plays, barking orders, and slicing defenses with pinpoint passes. Scoring? Sure, they can drop 10 or 20, but it's the dimes, 8, the 12, 15, that define them. They control tempo, slow it down, or push it fast. Always 2 moves ahead of the chaos. Defenders hate them. Pesky hands, snagging steals, turning turnovers into buckets. They're the coach on the floor, rallying the crew, keeping everyone locked in. Late game, down 3, ball's in their hands. No question. They're either splashing it or finding the open man. It's brains, guts, and 48 minutes of leadership. John Stockton, the floor general GOAT. In Utah, he ran that pick and roll like a symphony, piling up assists, 15,000 plus, and swiping balls like a thief. Stockton's short shorts and laser passes turned games into clinic. He owned the court, every second, every play. Free throw merchant. These slick operators turn every trip to the line into a cash grab. Swish, swish, points piling up. They've got a knack for drawing contact. No fear driving into the paint or flopping, just enough to sell it. Stats might say 10 buckets, but 20 more come from the charity stripe. They're not just chucking, they're crafty, baiting defenders into fouls with pump fakes or sneaky leans. Free throws? Automatic. 9 out of 10? Easy. It's not flashy, but it's a slow bleed that kills opponents by the 4th. They don't need 40 shots. They grind out 30 points on efficiency and smarts. Defenders groan. They can't touch them without a whistle. SGA, the free throw merchant maestro. Even with legit fouls galore, SGA's a wizard at getting there. 12 attempts a night, cool as ice. From OKC, he slithers to the rim, racks up 25 to 30, and halves from the line. No drama, all business. Shea's smooth game milks those freebies like a pro, leaving teams salty every time. Stretch big. These towering shooters flip the script on what a big man's supposed to be. 0 camping in the paint, all range. They're 7 feet of chaos, popping out to the 3-point line, draining shots over outstretched arms. Defenses scramble, leave them open, and it's splash. Crowd them, and they pump fake into a drive. They stretch the floor, pulling rim protectors away, opening lanes for cutters. Rebounds? They snag 8 or 10, but the real juice is their 15 to 20 points, half from deep. They've got soft touch, quick release, and no hesitation. Bigs, who shoot like guards. Post plays there, but it's the perimeter game that's deadly. KP, the stretch. Big poster boy. He's raining threes while towering at 7'3". No awkwardness, all silk. KP's pulling up from 25 feet, grabbing 10 boards and swatting shots. Defenders hate it. He's too tall to contest, too skilled to ignore. KP bends games. Lockdown defender. These guys are the human equivalent of a steel trap. Once they clamp onto you, good luck getting free. They're all about suffocating the other team's best scorer. 0 points if they can help it. Quick feet, sticky hands, and a mean streak, they're in your face, full court, 48 minutes straight. Steals? They're swiping 2 or 3 a game. Buckets? Not on their watch, maybe 5 points if you're lucky. They read plays like a book, jumping passing lanes or shutting down drives with a snarl. Offense isn't their gig. They might score 10, but their real flex is making stars look mortal. They're pesky, physical, and proud, turning games into grind fests. Gary Payton, the lockdown defender legend. In Seattle, the glove was a nightmare, trash talking, snagging steals, and holding dudes under 15 points. No chill, all tenacity. Payton's lockdown was so tight, MJ felt it in the finals. He'd hound you baseline to baseline, leaving scorers shook and fans hyped every time. Rim protector. These giants are the last line of defense. Towers of nope, guarding the paint. They're swatting shots, 3 or 4 a night, sending drives back with a vengeance. 0 easy layups here. They're 7-foot walls with arms like tree branches. Rebounds? They're gobbling 10 to 15, owning the glass. Offense can shine. 20 points, sure, but their bread's buttered, rejecting you at the rim. Timing's perfect. They leap when you least expect it, turning dunks into not today highlights. They anchor the D, scaring slashers into second guessing. Bigs or guards, doesn't matter. Cross that line, and it's a block party. Anthony Davis, the rim protector supreme. In Dallas, AD's a beast, averaging 3 blocks, snatching 12 boards, and still dropping 25. 0 weakness at the cup. He'll erase your shot, then flex. From brow-raising swats to clutch stops, Davis owns the paint. Offense gets love, but those rejections, game changers. AD's the dude, making drivers cry and teammates cheer every night. 6th man. These spark plugs are the secret weapons who light it up off the bench. 0 starting, all impact. They roll in fresh, dropping 15 to 20 points like it's nothing. Energy's wild. They shift momentum, turning sleepy games into blowouts. Scoring's their jam. Threes, floaters, whatever. Give them 10 shots, and they're cashing out. They don't sulk about minutes. They thrive in their role, hitting the court with juice when the starters fade. Defense? Maybe not elite, but they'll hustle. Coaches lean on them to flip the script, and fans lose it when they check in. 48 minutes? Nah, give them 25, and they're still game MVP. Jamal Crawford, the 6th man god. He dance in with that crossover, bury threes, and pile up 20 effortlessly. No ego, all buckets. Crawford's silky handles and clutch shots earned him 3 6th man awards. He was the microwave, ice cold, till he heated up, then it's game over every time. Crunch time closer. These ice vein killers live for the final 5 minutes. 0 flinch, all clutch. Down 3 with 2 ticks left, ball's theirs. They're either splashing it or drawing the foul. They thrive under pressure, dropping 10 in the 4th to seal it. Cool as a cucumber, they read D's, hit tough shots, 15-footers, step back threes, and make it look easy. Free throws, 9 out of 10, locked in. They don't just score, they break souls, staring down the clock while the crowd roars. Defense tightens, but they've got no panic. Pass or shoot, they deliver. Teammates trust them, coaches draw it up, and they execute. Jalen Brunson, the crunch time closer king. In New York, he's Mr. Fourth Quarter, 25 a night, but 10 come late. 0 hesitation. Brunson's hitting fadeaways or driving 4-and-1s when it's tight. 50-point games or game winners. He's got that killer instinct. Knicks lean on him, and he closes it out every damn time. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Vibes Guy. These legends don't play 0 minutes, but they're the soul of the squad. They're hyping the bench, cracking jokes, and keeping spirits sky high. Stats? 0 across the board. They're not here for points, just pure positivity. Practice? They're grinding, setting the tone. Game time? They're dancing, waving towels, or roasting teammates, making sure the vibe's never off. Coaches love them. They're glue without touching the floor. Losses sting, but they're first to rally the crew. Wins pop, and they're the loudest cheer. 48 minutes of sideline energy. Irreplaceable. They're the heartbeat, the mascot, the hype man rolled into one. Theo Pinson? The Vibes Guy GOAT. He's courtside. 0 shots. All soul. Yelling. Laughing. Keeping it loose. Teammates feed off his 10 out of 10 charisma. No box score love, but he's winning hearts and lifting squads every night. Theo's the dude who proves you don't need minutes to matter. High flyer. These aerial acrobats turn the court into a runway. Zero gravity, all lift. They're soaring for dunks that make jaws drop and crowds erupt. Give them a lane and it's takeoff time. Windmills, tomahawks, or poster slams over helpless bigs. They don't mess with threes much. 10 points come from above the rim. Athleticism's off the charts, 40-inch verts, and hang time that defies physics. Defense, they're swatting shots or snagging boards, 5 or 6 a night, using that bounce. They're not running the show, just stealing it with highlight reel hops. Every leap's a statement. No fear, all flair. Gerald Green, the high flyer icon. In Houston or Boston, he'd blast off. Two-hand jams or alley-oops from half court, scoring 15 with ease. No limits. Green's 48-inch hops and mid-air flips were pure showtime. He'd catch lobs or dunk on your soul, leaving fans buzzing every time he flew. Point forward. These bigs run the offense like guards. No traditional post. All floor general. They're 6'8" or taller, dishing 8 assists, dropping 20 points, and grabbing 10 boards. Vision's elite. They're threading needles or hitting cutters while defenders scrambled. Ball handling slick. Crossovers, hesitation moves, and they'll pull up for threes or drive for buckets. Defense, they guard 1 through 5, using length and smarts. They're the engine. 48 minutes of dictating pace, breaking presses, and making teammates better. No panic. They're calm, clutch, and everywhere. LeBron James, the point forward blueprint. In Cleveland, Miami, Los Angeles, he's a 6'9" maestro. 10 assists, 25 points, 8 rebounds, night after night. No holes. LeBron's bulldozing for dunks, firing passes, or hitting game winners. 4 MVP awards, 4 rings. He's been running point at forward since day one, bending games his way every time. Ball hawk. These thieves are pickpocket pros. No chill, all hand. They're snagging steals, 3 or 4 a game, turning turnovers into fast break buckets. Quick as lightning, they jump passing lanes, swipe dribble, or poke balls loose. Offense, they'll chip in 10 points, but their real gig is chaos, disrupting plays, and rattling ball handlers. Defense is their domain. 48 minutes of pressure, hawkeye reads, and sticky fingers. They're not the star, but they shift momentum with every takeaway. Zero hesitation. They gamble smart and win. Dyson Daniels, the ball hawk rising. In Atlanta, he's a 6'6" menace. 2 steals a night, locking wings, and breaking out for 14 points. Zero flag, all grit. Daniels' wingspan and instincts snatch souls, flipping games with every pilfered possession. Hustle guy. These relentless warriors scrap for every inch. They're diving for loose balls, 3 a game, snagging 15 rebounds, 10 off the glass. Scoring? 10 points maybe, 5 putback, but hustle's the heartbeat. Defense, 2 steals, 2 blocks, hounding stars into misery. They don't shoot threes or run plays, just outwork everyone. 48 minutes of pure motor. Energy's contagious. Teammates feed off it. Opponents hate it. Stats don't scream, but impact's loud. Zero quit, all effort. Dennis Rodman, the hustle guy icon. In Detroit, Chicago, everywhere, he grabbed 20 boards. 7-foot hustle in a 6'6" frame, scoring 8, locking down legends. Zero chill. Rodman's wild hair, 5 rings, and relentless dives made him the ultimate hustle freak every night. Gunner. These trigger-happy shooters are all about letting it fly. Zero hesitation, all buckets. They're jacking up shots. 10 to 15 a game, hunting threes or mid-range jumpers like it's their religion. Accuracy? Solid, but volume's the name. 20 points if they're hot, 5 if they're not. They don't overthink. Catch it, shoot it, next play. Defense? Maybe a steal or 2, but they're here to score, not stop. Give them 48 minutes, and they'll fire 20 times. No apology. They're streaky, ice cold, or scorching. No in between. But when they're on, it's a barrage. Fans love the guts. Coaches tolerate the misses. Cam Whitmore, the gunner phenom. 3 threes are tough 2s, piling up 15 to 20 off the bench. No fear. Whitmore's green light's always on, launching with swagger and keeping defenses guessing every time he pops off. Slasher. These rim attackers carve through defenses like a hot knife. No settling. All drives. They're weaving past guards, Euro-stepping bigs, and finishing with 10 points at the cup. Contact? They crave it, drawing fouls for 8 free throws a night. Threes? Maybe 1 or 2, but the paint's their playground. Acrobatic layups, or dunks over souls. Defense scrambles. They're too quick, too crafty. 5 assists come from kickouts, but it's the 20-point slashing that shines. 48 minutes of relentless cuts. Zero quit. D. Wade, the slasher legend. In Miami, Flash was untouchable. 12-point slashing, 8 from the line, breaking ankles and hearts. No weakness. Wade's speed and spin moves owned the lane. dropping 30 like clockwork every big night. Lob threat. These sky-high finishes live for the OOP, zero ground game, all air. They're catching lobs and slamming them home with force that shakes the rim. Give them a guard who lobs it up, and it's 10 points. Easy. Defense? They're swatting 4 shots, snagging 12 boards, towering at 7 feet. They don't shoot threes or dribble much, just set picks and rise. 48 minutes of vertical terror, no subtlety. DeAndre Jordan, the lob threat titan. He'd soar, 15 points off dunks, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. DJ is all about catching high and throwing down hard, posterizing fools every alley-oop. Combo guard. These hybrid hoopers blur the line. Zero limits. All skills. They're running .1 play, dishing 5 assists, then scoring 20 the next, flipping between 1 and 2 like it's nothing. They'll drain threes, attack the rim, or break ankles with slick handles. 10 shots, 8 buckets when they're cooking. Defense? They'll snag a steal or 2, scrapping with guards. Size doesn't faze them. 6'3" or under? They're crafty, versatile, and clutch. 48 minutes. They're adapting, playmaking, or bucket getting, whatever's needed. They're not pure anything, just deadly everything. CJ McCollum, the combo guard maestro. He's silky. 20 points, 5 dimes, hitting pull-ups or floaters. No panic. CJ runs sets or goes one-on-one for 25, keeping defenses dizzy every night with that smooth game. Trash talker. These loudmouths weaponize words. They're dropping 15 points while roasting you, 5 zingers a game, rattling heads and breaking spirits. Scoring's tight, 20 when they're hot, but the chatter's nonstop, from tip to buzzer. Defense, they're in your face, snagging 2 steals, daring you to shoot. 48 minutes of psychological warfare, no mercy. They back it up too. Clutch shots with a smirk. Larry Bird, the trash talker king, he'd bury threes, 25 a night, while telling you where it's going. Zero chill. Bird's your too late taunts, and 30-point clinics left foes fuming every time. Rebound? Guy. These board crashers own the glass. They're snagging 15 rebounds, 10 defensive, 5 offensive, out-muscling bigs with grit. Scoring? Maybe 8 points, but the real flex is 20 boards in a grind. They don't shoot threes or dazzle, just box out, leap, and grab. Defense? They're clogging lanes, swatting 1 or 2 shots. 48 minutes of relentless work, 0 stat padding. Reggie Evans? The rebound guy beast. He'd haul in 18 rebounds, 6'6", but unstoppable. No jumpers. Evans' hustle and elbows made him a glass-cleaning terror every night. Mid-range maestro. These silky shooters turn the 15 to 20-foot zone into their personal camp. They're dropping 10 mid-range buckets a game, fading away or pulling up with a buttery jumper that's money 9 times out of 10. Threes? Maybe 2. Drives? Sure, 8 points at the rim. But that mid-range, 20 points live there. Unstoppable footwork and soft touch, leaving defenders lost. They don't need flash, just a quick step, a shrug, and splash. 48 minutes of old-school art. DeMar DeRozan, the mid-range maestro supreme. He's carving up defenses, 25 a night, half from that sweet spot. No hurry. DeMar's pump fakes, spins, and feathery shots paint masterpieces, breaking hearts every fadeaway he drains. Post scorer. These bigs dominate the block. They're backing down foes, dropping 15 points with hooks, drop steps, or turnarounds. 8 makes on 10 tries. Size and skill blend. 7 feet of finesse. Snagging 10 boards too. Defenders can't budge them. 2 blocks a game, keep the rim safe. They don't chase threes. Just post up, work angles, and score. 48 minutes of low post clinics. 0 wasted moves. Dirk Nowitzki, the post scorer icon. That one-legged fade, 20 points, 10 rebounds, was lethal. Dirk's 7-foot frame and golden touch piled up 30-point nights, redefining the post every game. Veteran leader. These grizzled vets are the locker room rocks. They've seen it all. 15 years deep, dropping 10 points off the bench while guiding the young guns. Scoring isn't the gig, maybe 8 buckets, but they're clutch, hitting a 3 or a mid-range jumper when it counts. Defense? They're smart. 2 steals, 5 boards, using savvy over speed. 48 minutes. Nah, give them 25. They're pacing themselves, mentoring on the fly. They're the glue, calm in chaos, steady in crunch time, keeping heads up after losses. Coaches lean on them. Teammates idolize him. Jeff Green, the veteran leader standard. From OKC to Houston, Denver to everywhere. He's a 16-year pro. 10 points, 5 rebounds, and no ego. Rings with Denver, big shots in playoff. Green's quiet grit and locker room voice keep squads tight. Every season he rolls through. Paint beast. These monsters own the interior. They're bullying in the post, dunking 5 times, piling up 15 points, and snatching 12 rebounds. 8 on offense. Defense, 3 blocks, altering 10 shots, 7-foot walls of muscle. They don't dribble or pop threes, just catch, finish, or crash. 48 minutes of physicality. they're rim-rattling terrors, living for putbacks and rolls. Mitchell Robinson, the paint beast terror. He's slamming lobs. 10 points, 12 boards, swatting 4 shots a night. Zero range, Robinson's all about dunks, blocks, and boards, owning the paint like a skyscraper every game he stomps through. Textbook backup. These reliable reserves are the unsung heroes who keep the engine humming. They step in for 20 minutes, dishing 5 assists, scoring 10 points, and snagging 2 steals with scrappy grit. They don't demand shots, 5 or 6 attempts, all efficient, hitting floaters or pull-ups. Defense, they're pesky, harassing guards, jumping lanes, and diving for loose balls. They're not stars, but they're steady. 0 turnovers, pure execution. Coaches trust them to spell the starter without a drop-off, running plays like clockwork. 48 minutes, nah. They thrive in short bursts, keeping the vibe alive. TJ McConnell, the textbook backup master. In Indy, he's a 6'1 dynamo, 10 points, 6 assists, 2 steals off the bench. McConnell's hustle, heart, and sneaky buckets keep the Pacers rolling every time he checks in. Point center. These rare bigs run the show from the 5. They're 7-foot playmakers, dropping 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. Triple doubles like it's casual. Passing, 8 dimes. Pinpoint, flashy, or no look. Scoring, threes, hooks, or drives, 10 makes on 15 shots. Defense, 2 blocks, 5 boards. Length disrupts everything. 48 minutes of control, they dictate pace, shred Ds, and elevate teammates. Nikola Jokic, the point center king. He's a 7-foot wizard, 25 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists nightly. Jokic's vision, soft touch, and MVP, swagger bend games, making the Nuggets champs every play he orchestrates. Trade block regular. These journeymen are the league's nomads. They're solid pros, 10 points, 5 rebounds, shooting threes, or locking down wings for 25 minutes a night. Teams love them. 2 steals, 40% from deep, but they're always in rumors, bouncing between 5 squads in 10 years like clockwork. They don't sulk, 0 ego, just pack up, play hard, and fit right in. Scoring's not wild, 8 buckets max. But they're glue guys, doing the dirty work nobody wants. 48 minutes? Nah, they're role players, thriving wherever they land and making the most of every opportunity. Trevor Ariza, he's the trade block regular champ, hands down, from LA to Houston, Miami to Phoenix, and back again. Ariza's a true 3-and-D veteran, 12 points, 5 boards, 2 steals, and endless hustle. No complaints, just impact. His titles and grit made him a hot commodity year after year, traded 7 times, and still shining bright at every single stop. No matter the jersey, he brought value, blended in, and left a mark every game. Franchise cornerstone. These icons are the team's soul. They're dropping 30 points, 10 assists, rewriting records, and building dynasties from scratch. 5 MVP wins or rings? That's just the resume. They're the face. 20 years, 1 jersey, carrying squads to glory season after season. Defense, 3 steals, smart rotations, timely stops. Offense, 15 makes on 20 shots. Threes, drives, clutch bombs, game winners. 48 minutes of brilliance. No off nights, no excuses. Fans worship him. Cities build statues in their honor. Steph Curry, the franchise cornerstone GOAT without question. He's a 6'3 sniper with 30 points, 6 assists, and 4 shiny rings. Steph's 40-foot threes, jaw-dropping handles, and loyalty redefined the game entirely. From a baby-faced rookie to a basketball revolutionary, he anchored the Warriors every single year. He didn't just play for a franchise, he became the franchise, lighting up arenas, sparking comebacks, and flipping the league on its head. 1 jersey, 1 mission, 1 unforgettable legacy built from pure brilliance. Rim running big. These athletic towers sprint the floor. They're catching lobs, 3 a game for 10 points, grabbing 8 rebounds, and swatting 2 shots like clockwork. Pick and roll machines, they dive hard, finish above the rim, and crash for 5 offensive boards. Defense, 3 blocks a night. Their 7-foot wingspan owns the paint. 48 minutes of hustle. No chill, no finesse, all explosion. Jackson Hayes, he's the rim-running big riser. In LA, he's soaring high. 10 points, 6 rebounds, slamming oops and blocking shots with raw athleticism. Hayes doesn't need jumpers when his bounce makes every lob a highlight. He's sprinting end to end, sealing defenders, hammering dunks, and protecting the rim with no hesitation. Rim protection, rim running, rim rattling. That's the blueprint. These bigs don't space the floor. They own it vertically. Opponents know when they're in the lane, it's trouble. Hayes is proof that hustle, hops, and timing can keep you in rotations even without a jumper in sight. Secondary playmaker. These smooth operators take the reins when the main guy rests. They're dishing 6 assists, scoring 15 points, and running the show for 25 minutes of smart basketball. Crafty with the ball, 5 slick passes, 3 pull-up jumpers. They keep the offense humming without skipping a beat. Defense, 2 steals, and scrappy hustle. They battle, rotate, and make plays when needed. They're not the star, 10 shots max, but they're clutch, hitting a late 3 or finding the open man when the clock ticks down. 48 minutes? Nah, they shine as the sidekick, easing the load while the main guy breathes. Austin Reeves? He's the secondary playmaker gem without question. He's a 6'5" spark with floaters, dimes, and timely buckets. No spotlight hogging. Reeves' chill vibe, smart decisions, and big plays lift LeBron's Lakers every time he steps up. He doesn't need the ball nonstop, he just needs a chance. And he always delivers with poise and control. Max contract, minimum impact. These big paycheck bust cash checks, but barely cash in. Zero bang for the buck. They're signed for $30 million a year, yet deliver just 10 points, 5 rebounds, fringe starter stats that don't match the price tag. Hype's always high. 2 good seasons bought that contract, but injuries, poor conditioning, or fading fire tank 'em. Defense, 1 steal, and no effort. They coast through matchups like it's practice. Offense, 8 shots. 2 makes, nothing that makes fans cheer. 48 minutes, more like 15 minutes of frustration. Chandler Parsons, the max contract, minimum impact poster boy forever. In Memphis, post-Dallas peak, he pocketed $94 million for 9 points and 4 boards a night. No spark, his charm and promise outshone his game completely. He faded fast, every overpaid night feeling emptier than the last. These guys flash once, then disappear. But the checks keep coming while the wins don't. It's not hate, it's just heartbreak, watching millions turn into maybes. Corner specialist. These sharpshooters camp in the corners. They're nailing 4 threes for 10 points on just 5 shots, stretching defenses wide and punishing every missed rotation. Catch and shoot kings, 45% from deep. They don't dribble much. Don't overthink, just fire with perfect time. They stay low, keep ready, and wait for that kick out. Defense, 3 steals. Long arms, good instincts. They're locking wings and hustling on switches. 48 minutes? Nah, 30's plenty. They're role players, thriving right in their lane. Mikal Bridges? He's the corner specialist ace. For the Knicks, he's lethal. 19 points, 4 threes, drilling from the wings with sniper accuracy. Every shot is smart, every cut has purpose. His defense is no joke either. 2-way energy, non-stop movement, total impact. These guys don't need volume, they need rhythm. And once they've got it, the net doesn't stand a chance. Pure spacing, pure confidence, pure rhythm. They're the glue in every winning rotation. Breakout season loading. These slow burners tease stardom since they were drafted. They flash 20-point nights, 5 assists, and 10 buckets that look like the real deal, but then they vanish. Consistency shaky, rhythm's off. 2 big games, 3 quiet ones. Still, the ceiling's high. Defense, 2 steals when they're locked in and reading the floor right. 48 minutes? Not yet. They're growing, evolving, trying to put it all together. They're hitting 15 points a game now, showing flashes, hinting at more. D'Angelo Russell, the breakout season loading saga in full swing. Since 2017, in LA, Brooklyn, Minnesota, wherever, he's teased us. 25 points, 6 assists, highlight plays, then silence. D'Lo's silky jumper and smooth playmaking keep fans hoping every year. He's got the tools, the touch, and the timing. It's just about putting it all together for a full season. The moment's always close, and fans keep watching, waiting, wondering, when's the breakout really happening? Transition guy. These speed demons turn turnovers into track meets. They're blazing end-to-end, 5 fast break buckets a game for 20 points, snagging 3 steals to ignite the break. Dribbling's wild, 10 assists off kick-aheads, no-look passes, and alley-oop lobs. Defense, 2 blocks, chasing guards like shadows. They don't camp out at the arc. 40% from 3 is just a bonus. But the open floor's their kingdom, where they drop 15 in transition alone. They play 48 minutes of pure chaos. No breaks, no hesitation, just constant movement and pressure. Russell Westbrook, the transition guy tornado for sure. He's a 6'3" freight train. 25 points, 8 assists, 3 steals, bulldozing into the paint for thunderous dunks or slinging dishes at full speed. Westbrook's energy, triple doubles, and full court sprints break games wide open every single night, whether it's off a miss or a steal. Once he hits top gear, defenders just get out the way. It's coast to coast madness, and he thrives in the storm. Ref's enemy. These gritty warriors battle zebras as hard as opponents. They're racking techs, 10 a season minimum, barking at calls, drawing glares from every official in stripes. On court, 10 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Pure muscle wrapped in fire. Defense is fierce. 3 steals, 0 fouls in their mind, but refs somehow see 6. Every whistle triggers an argument. They're physical. 48 minutes of elbows, box outs, and barking. Heroes to their teammates, but headaches to the stripes. Ben Wallace, the ref's enemy legend without question. He'd swat 4 shots, grab 15 boards, add 10 points, and feud with officials from tip to buzzer. Wallace's giant afro, bulging biceps, and brick wall defense made every ref's night miserable. He'd roar after blocks, glare after fouls, and never let a call slide without a stare down. These guys don't care about being liked. They care about winning, no matter how many whistles they have to fight through. They make the game gritty, loud, and unforgettable. Switchable defender. These versatile stoppers guard 1 through 5. 0 mismatches, all clamps. They're 6'6" with crazy length, 2 steals, 2 blocks, shutting down guards, wings, or even 7-footers on a switch. Offense, 10 points, 5 assists, built off hustle, rebounds, and smart cuts. But defense is where they live. 40% shooters held to 5 buckets when these guys are locked in. They slide across screens, switch seamlessly, scrap every possession. 48 minutes of high-energy glue, ripping game plans to pieces. Draymond Green, the switchable defender titan, hands down. He's a 6'7" menace. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, commanding the defense like a general. Draymond's IQ, trash talk, physicality, and 4 championship rings anchor the dubs every switch he owns. He talks nonstop, baits scorers into bad shots, and celebrates every stop like a game winner. These guys don't need 20 points. They win games by shutting down the other team's best player. When they're out there, nobody's safe, no matter the size, speed, or skill set. Minneapolis Lakers. The franchise kicked things off in Minneapolis after buying the Detroit Gems for $15,000 and completely flipping their story. The old Gems had won only 4 games the season before, but once they grabbed George Mikan and became the Lakers, everything changed. Mikan showed up already built for dominance, putting up over 16 points a night right away. They weren't just better, they were champions in their very first year. Behind Mikan's 27 playoff points per game, they crushed the Royals for the NBL title. Jim Pollard and Herm Schaefer gave them reliable scoring and energy on both ends. Then they joined the BAA, went 44-16, and won again. Mikan took the league by storm, averaging over 28 points, including a 42-point explosion in the finals. When the NBA officially formed, the Lakers didn't slow down. Their first NBA season ended with 51 wins, and they handled the playoffs like pros. Mikan dropped 40 in the clincher against Syracuse, and the team's advanced numbers had them way ahead of their competition. Even when the Pistons stalled their offense, in a 19-18 loss, the lowest scoring game ever, Minneapolis still stood out. The next year, they won 44 games, but fell short in the playoffs. Mikan was still dominating, with over 28 a night, but a leg injury slowed him down at the worst time. Rochester ended their title streak, but not for long. They bounced back and grabbed another ring after adjusting to the widened foul lane, which was literally changed to make Mikan less effective. Didn't matter. He still got 23 points per game, and the team's defense was the league's best. In the next season, they won 48 games and steamrolled the Knicks in the finals. Pollard, Mickelson, and even rookie Clyde Lovellette gave them depth and control on both sides. Their pace was slower than average, but it worked for their style. Then they added one more championship in 1954. Mikan was wearing down, but still put up 18 a night. Slater Martin ran the backcourt, and their net rating was one of the best in the league. Mikan's numbers were ridiculous for his time, over 23 points and 13 rebounds, with a player efficiency rating nearly double the league average. Pollard added athleticism that pushed the game forward, and Mickelson brought that physical edge that threw opponents off rhythm. Martin's playmaking and defense helped lock down perimeter threats, making sure they had no weak spots. They changed the game in more ways than one. Goaltending was banned because of Mikan. The lane got wider because of Mikan. The shot clock was born because teams stalled just to keep the ball away from Mikan. They even experimented with taller baskets to try and slow bigs down. The dynasty ended when Mikan retired at 30. Without him, they still won 40 games, but couldn't keep it going. Lovellette led in scoring, but the magic faded fast. In just 7 seasons, they won 6 championships and reached the finals 6 times. Nobody in that era touched that level of dominance. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to start posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Russell's Celtics. Everything changed in 1956 when the Celtics traded for Bill Russell. They sent off Ed Macauley and Cliff Hagan for the number 2 pick, and it paid off instantly. Russell didn't even debut until December, but the Celtics still finished with 44 wins and topped the East St. When he finally suited up, he pulled down 16 rebounds in 21 minutes. That was just the beginning. They won the title in Russell's rookie season, beating St. Louis in 7 games. He averaged over 24 rebounds a game in the playoffs, and his defense shut teams down immediately. The next season looked like a repeat until Russell sprained his ankle in the finals. St. Louis took advantage and stole the series, but the Celtics came right back and swept the Lakers for the title the next year. Russell was dominant again, and the team's breakneck pace left opponents struggling to keep up. By 1960, they had racked up 59 wins and crushed St. Louis in another 7-game finals. Russell dropped 35 rebounds in the final game, and Heinsohn led all scorers in the series. They weren't slowing down. In 61, they made it 3 in a row by steamrolling St. Louis again. Then in 62, they beat Los Angeles in an overtime Game 7. Russell had 40 rebounds in that one. Every season, the numbers stayed ridiculous. Sam Jones became a reliable scorer, and Cousy was still running the offense with ease. They won again in 63, and that was Cousy's last season. But it didn't matter. Havlicek was already making plays off the bench, and Sam Jones took the scoring load. Russell grabbed his first Most Valuable Player award in 64, while leading them to another title. In 65, they beat the Lakers again in 7 games. That was the year of Havlicek's iconic steal to beat Philadelphia. Russell kept winning Most Valuable Player, and by 66, he had 3 in a row. That year, they won their 8th straight championship, beating the Lakers once again. Then the dynasty hit a wall. In 67, Philadelphia finally knocked them out in the Eastern Finals. Chamberlain's Sixers were just too much, but Boston came back the next year with Russell as player coach and shocked everyone. They were down 3-1 against Philly and came all the way back, then beat the Lakers again for the title. In 69, Russell's final season, the Celtics were the 4th seed. They beat Philly, then New York, and finally Los Angeles in another Game 7 classic. Russell averaged over 22 rebounds a game for his career, and his impact didn't stop at the numbers. He transformed defense, turning blocks into fast breaks, and completely shifting how the game was played. The Celtics won 11 titles in 13 seasons. Players like Havlicek, Sam Jones, Cousy, and Heinsohn gave them unmatched depth. Red Auerbach's fast-paced system and focus on teamwork created a formula no one could match. This run wasn't just dominant, it reshaped professional basketball. Showtime Lakers. It all started when the Lakers landed Magic Johnson with the top pick in 1979, a pick they got years earlier by trading Gail Goodrich. Magic's energy fit perfectly with Kareem, who was already dominating the league. That first season together ended with 60 wins and a title. Magic played all 5 positions in the finals clincher, scoring 42 points while Kareem was out with an injury. He became the youngest finals Most Valuable Player ever at the time, and their run officially kicked off. The next year, Magic hurt his knee and missed almost half the season. Without him, the Lakers lost their rhythm and fell early in the playoffs. But they got right back on track in 1982 after Pat Riley took over as coach. The team's pace exploded, and they stormed through the playoffs. They swept Philadelphia in the finals, and Magic was back to his triple-double ways, while Kareem kept scoring with ease. Philadelphia came back with a vengeance in 83 and swept Los Angeles out of the final. Moses Malone and Julius Erving were just too much, but the Lakers bounced back in 84 and went toe-to-toe with Boston. It took 7 games, but the Celtics pulled away late. That loss made the Lakers hungrier than ever. The next season, they finally beat Boston in the finals for the first time. Kareem was 37 and still dropped 22 points a game, and Magic averaged 14 assists. Then came the upset. Houston's bigs overwhelmed them in 86, and Ralph Sampson's buzzer beater knocked the Lakers out. That loss didn't sit well. The next year, they put together their best season of the era, winning 65 games. Magic won Most Valuable Player, and they beat Boston in 6 games to take the crown. The next season, they became the first team in 2 decades to win back-to-back championships, outlasting Detroit in a tight 7-game series. James Worthy's triple-double in Game 7 sealed it. But in 89, injuries hit hard. Magic hurt his hamstring, and Kareem was on his way out. They got swept by Detroit, and the dynasty started slipping. Riley stepped down after the next season, and even though Magic kept putting up huge numbers, they lost to Phoenix in the playoffs. Their fast pace slowed, and the Showtime era quietly ended. Magic revolutionized the point guard role with his size and creativity. Kareem's skyhook was practically automatic, and Worthy always delivered in big games. Michael Cooper locked up scores on the perimeter, and Jamal Wilkes gave them smooth offense on the wing. Their transition game lit up the league, and Riley's system pushed the tempo every chance they got. They won 5 titles and reached 9 finals in 12 years. Their success, combined with Hollywood glam, made them must-see TV and helped elevate the entire NBA. Showtime wasn't just a nickname, it was a movement. Bird's Celtics. Everything changed the moment Larry Bird joined Boston in 1979. The team had just won 29 games, but Bird instantly flipped their identity. That year, they won 61 games, the biggest improvement the league had ever seen. Bird averaged over 21 points and 11 rebounds. And just like that, the Celtics were back. They lost to Philadelphia in the Eastern Finals, but the spark had already caught fire. In his second season, Red Auerbach pulled off a trade for the ages. He brought in Robert Parrish and drafted Kevin McHale, forming the league's most dominant frontcourt. Boston won the title that year, beating Houston in 6 games. Bird dropped 27 and 13 in the clincher, while Cedric Maxwell earned Finals Most Valuable Player honors with nearly 18 points a game. Parrish added steady scoring and rebounding, and the team's defense locked in during the playoffs. They kept pushing in 82 and finished with the best record in the league. Bird upped his averages. McHale thrived off the bench, but they lost a Game 7 heartbreaker to Philly. The next season was worse. Cowens retired, and Milwaukee swept Boston out of the second round. Bird still got his numbers, but Moncrief locked in on defense and shut things down. Then came the turning point. In 1984, under new coach Casey Jones, Bird won Most Valuable Player and led Boston to a finals win over the Lakers. Game 7 was a slugfest, and Bird came through with 20 points and 12 rebounds. That series kicked off the most iconic rivalry in league history. They met again the next year, but this time, Los Angeles got revenge. Bird led the league in scoring, but the Lakers' pace wore Boston down. In 1986, the Celtics were unbeatable. They won 67 games and lost only once at home. Bird picked up his 3rd straight Most Valuable Player award and guided them to another title. He had a triple-double in the final game, and Bill Walton, finally healthy, gave the bench some much-needed life. That year was their peak. Bird, McHale, and Parrish combined for over 62 points a game, and their net rating topped the league. The next season, injuries started piling up. McHale played through a broken foot, and the Celtics fell short in the finals against the Lakers. Magic had 19 assists in the clincher, and Boston's rebounding numbers dipped big time. In 1988, Detroit ended their run. Bird led the league in scoring, but the Pistons were too physical and too deep. Boston's efficiency dropped, and the dynasty began to fade. Bird missed almost all of '89 with a foot injury, and the Celtics finished barely above 500. He came back for a final push in '92, averaging 20, but his back couldn't hold up. They lost to Cleveland in the second round, and Bird called it a career that summer. At his peak, Bird averaged over 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, while shooting nearly 40% from deep. McHale was unstoppable in the post, and Parrish brought quiet toughness every night. Dennis Johnson gave them perimeter defense, and Walton added depth during their best year. This group wasn't flashy. They were tough, skilled, and completely in sync. 3 titles, 5 finals trips, and a lasting rivalry with the Lakers turned them into legend. Bad boy Pistons. Everything kicked off when Detroit drafted Isaiah Thomas in 1981. They were coming off a brutal 21-win season, but Thomas brought energy right away. Jack McCloskey started building a team around him, trading for Bill Laimbeer and Vinnie Johnson and drafting Joe Dumars. By 1987, the Pistons were in the Eastern Finals, pushing Boston to 7 games. Thomas nearly pulled off a miracle in Game 5, dropping 25 points in 1 quarter. In 1988, they fully embraced their bad boys identity. Chuck Daly let them play physical, and it worked. They beat Boston to win the East and pushed the Lakers to 7 games in the finals. Thomas scored 43 points on a badly sprained ankle in Game 6, almost stealing the title. They fell just short, but it was clear they were next up. 1 year later, they left no doubt. They won 63 games, added Mark Aguirre at the trade deadline, and stormed through the playoffs. In the finals, they swept the Lakers. Dumars averaged over 27 a night and won finals. Most Valuable Player. Thomas still led the team, even with a nagging hamstring. Their defense smothered everything, and no one could match their depth. They ran it back the next season. Thomas led the league in assists during the regular season, and in the finals, he lit up Portland. Vinnie Johnson hit the championship-winning jumper in Game 5, and Thomas took home Finals Most Valuable Player. Back-to-back titles confirmed their dynasty. The Jordan rules were in full effect. They doubled, trapped, and punished Chicago's star every chance they got. By '91, the wheels started to wobble. Thomas was still strong, but injuries piled up. Laimbeer missed time, and Aguirre's role shrank. They reached the Eastern Finals again, but got swept by the Bulls. Jordan finally broke through, and Detroit's walk-off before the final buzzer told the story. Key playoff moments still stand out. Thomas's explosion against Boston, their sweep of Chicago in '89, holding Jordan below his season average, beating the Bulls again in '90 to reach the finals. And then the final championship, with Vinnie Johnson earning his microwave nickname by heating up when it mattered most. Isaiah Thomas was the heart of the team. He scored, passed, and took over late in games. Joe Dumars gave them scoring and elite perimeter defense. Lane Beer banged inside, stretching the floor with his jumper. Dennis Rodman rebounded like crazy, winning Defensive Player of the Year twice. And Vinnie Johnson, he came in and instantly started cooking. Mark Aguirre added scoring from the mid-range, while Rick Mahorn and John Sally gave them size and toughness. Mahorn set bruising screens, and Sally blocked shots in bunches. Together, they made life miserable for opponents. The Jordan rules weren't just hype, they actually worked. Jordan's efficiency dropped whenever he faced Detroit, and their overall defense was the best in the league during both title runs. Their rebounding dominance wore out finesse teams, and they averaged nearly 24 fouls a game without hesitation. From 87 to 91, the Pistons made 5 straight conference finals, won 2 titles, and beat legendary teams like the Celtics, Bulls, and Lakers. Their brand of basketball wasn't pretty, but it was effective. In Detroit, it fit the city perfectly. Blue collar, no nonsense, and fearless. When their time ended, the league had already started shifting, but those bad boys left a mark that won't ever fade. 90s Bulls. It all started when Michael Jordan arrived in 1984, but the real dynasty didn't kick in until the early 90s. Once the Bulls surrounded Jordan with the right pieces, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, and Coach Phil Jackson, they finally broke through. In 1991, they dominated. Jordan won Most Valuable Player, led the league in scoring, and crushed the Pistons to finally reach the finals. Against the Lakers, he dismantled them in 5 games and grabbed his first championship and Finals Most Valuable Player. The next year, they were even better, 67 wins. Jordan with another Most Valuable Player and a rematch against Portland in the finals. Jordan exploded in Game 1 with 6 3-pointers and the famous shrug. He averaged over 35 a game that series, and Chicago rolled to back-to-back titles. Then came 93. Charles Barkley and the Suns gave them a real fight, but Jordan wouldn't let it slip. He poured in 33 in the clincher, and John Paxson drilled the winner. That capped the first three-peat. Jordan stepped away from the game, and the Bulls had to regroup. Pippen stepped up, finished 3rd in Most Valuable Player voting, and led the team to 55 wins. They fell to New York in the second round, and in 95, Jordan came back wearing number 45. He looked rusty, and the Bulls lost to Orlando in 6 games. Then came the storm. In 1996, they won 72 games, the best regular season ever at that time. Jordan won his 5th Most Valuable Player, and Dennis Rodman gave them rebounding and edge. They breezed through the playoffs and beat Seattle in the final. Jordan picked up another Finals Most Valuable Player, and the dynasty was reborn. The following year, they won 69 games. Jordan averaged nearly 30 a night, Pippen was his perfect sidekick, and Steve Kerr hit the championship winner against Utah in Game 6. That was Jordan's 5th ring. In 1998, they closed it out. Jordan led the league in scoring again, hit the game winner over Brian Russell, and secured the second three-peat. It was his 6th title and 6th Finals Most Valuable Player. That final shot in Utah became the image of greatness. Behind the scenes, this team was built with precision. Pippen brought elite defense and versatility. Rodman rebounded better than anyone. Kukoc gave them scoring and playmaking off the bench. Paxson and Kerr hit the big shots. Cartwright anchored the paint, and Jackson's triangle offense gave everyone structure. Jordan made it all work. Their playoff record during the dynasty was nearly unbeatable. They went 89-24 across the 90s. No team ever forced them to a Game 7 in the finals. Their defense suffocated stars. Their offense moved with purpose. They didn't just win, they controlled every moment. The dynasty ended in 1998. Jordan retired, Jackson left, Pippen got traded, Rodman walked. In just 1 year, they went from champions to rebuilding. But that run of 6 titles in 8 seasons, that's the gold standard. Nobody did it better, nobody did it louder, and nobody made basketball feel more important than the 90s Bulls. Shaq and Kobe Lakers. Everything shifted in 1996. The Lakers brought in O'Neal, signing him to a massive deal, and then traded for a 17-year-old Kobe Bryant. It was a gamble on potential and power, and it worked. Early years were rough. Del Harris couldn't figure out the chemistry, and the team flamed out in the playoffs. But once Phil Jackson arrived in 1999, the triangle offense took hold, and the dynasty was born. Their first title came in 2000. Shaq was unstoppable, averaging nearly 30 points and 14 boards during the regular season. Kobe came into his own, averaging 22 points while defending and distributing. In the finals against Indiana, Shaq dropped 41 in the clincher, and even with an injury, Kobe had a massive overtime performance to steal Game 4. They were dominant, and more was coming. In 2001, they flipped the switch. That postseason, they lost just 1 game. Shaq averaged over 28 a night, Kobe nearly matched him, and their defense was stifling. They swept the Sixers in the finals, and Shaq took home another finals most valuable player. Kobe put up 25 a game, helping contain Allen Iverson after his Game 1 explosion. By 2002, the chemistry peaked. They ran through the playoffs again and swept New Jersey in the finals. Shaq once again dominated the paint, and Kobe continued elevating. Robert Horry's clutch three saved them in a brutal series against Sacramento, and they completed the three-peat. No team could handle their size, speed, and star power, but things got tense. Shaq's injuries started piling up, and Kobe's stardom kept growing. In 2003, Kobe led the league in scoring, but the team lacked the same edge. They lost to San Antonio, and the dynasty showed cracks. By 2004, the Lakers tried a quick fix. They added Karl Malone and Gary Payton. On paper, it looked unstoppable, but injuries and friction killed the momentum. In the finals, Detroit's defense completely outplayed them. Shaq put up numbers, but Kobe struggled with efficiency. Malone's knee gave out, and the Pistons closed the series in 5. It was the end. Shaq was traded to Miami. Jackson left. The era was over. Throughout that stretch, Shaq was the most dominant force in basketball. He shot over 57% from the field, pulled down boards, and altered shots every night. Kobe developed into a killer scorer and late-game assassin, hitting big shots and guarding top perimeter threats. Their supporting cast stepped up when needed. Fisher hit the shot with 0.4 seconds. Horry made every big three, and Rick Fox played rugged two-way basketball. The triangle offense let them flow. Shaq controlled the paint. Kobe slashed and isolated, and spacing was elite. Teams tried hacking Shaq, but he still got his numbers. Their finals runs averaged over 100 points per game, and they crushed teams in transition and half court. In 5 years, they won 3 titles, reached 4 finals, and posted one of the best playoff records ever. Staples Center became the new spotlight of the league. Their rivalry, their partnership, and their dominance made the early 2000s unforgettable. They didn't always get along, but when it clicked, nobody could stop them. Spurs Dynasty. Everything changed in 1997. The Spurs had just finished 20-62, but landing Tim Duncan with the top pick flipped the franchise overnight. Paired with David Robinson, the rookie helped San Antonio win their first title just 2 years later. That 1999 run, during a lockout-shortened season, set the tone. Tough defense, smart ball movement, and total buy-in. Duncan dominated the finals, averaging 25 and 11, while Robinson cleaned up the paint. Over the next few years, Duncan took full control. By 2003, he was the league's best player, winning his second most valuable player and leading the Spurs to another title. In the clincher against New Jersey, he nearly dropped a quadruple-double. Tony Parker emerged as the point guard of the future, while Manu Ginobili debuted that same season, showing flashes of the brilliance he'd soon bring off the bench. In 2005, they fought off the defending champs from Detroit in a bruising 7-game battle. Duncan was named Finals Most Valuable Player again, but Ginobili's slashing offense nearly stole it. Then in 2007, they swept Cleveland, holding a young LeBron James to under 40% shooting. Parker won Finals Most Valuable Player that time, becoming the first European player to do it. During this stretch, the Spurs won with consistency. They didn't chase headlines. They just won 50 games every year. Even when they stumbled in 2006 against Dallas or got bounced by Phoenix and Memphis, they always bounced back. Duncan kept anchoring the middle, Parker kept slicing into the lane, and Ginobili made the big plays when it mattered most. In 2013, they came inches away from another title. Ray Allen's three-point shot in Game 6 stole it, and Miami took the series in 7. But the next year, they got their revenge. San Antonio dismantled Miami in 5 games, with Kawhi Leonard taking home Finals Most Valuable Player honors at just 22 years old. That series was peak beautiful game basketball, unselfish, fluid, and devastating. From Duncan's low-post dominance and rim protection to Popovich's genius rotations and system-driven offense, they set a standard for excellence. Their style didn't rely on one star taking every shot. It was about movement, discipline, and control. They led the league in assists and team efficiency multiple times. They didn't just win games, they wore opponents down every possession, every minute. Across 15 years, they won 5 championships, made 6 finals, and built the most successful small market run in league history. Parker developed into an elite finisher. Ginobili became a global icon off the bench. Kawhi turned into a two-way force before injuries derailed the tail end. And Duncan, he was the steady heartbeat. Never flashy, always deadly. By the time Duncan retired in 2016, San Antonio had made the playoffs for 19 straight years. They never dipped below 50 wins in a full season from 99 to 2017. Popovich kept the engine running, even as the league changed around them. The Spurs didn't chase the spotlight, but they defined an era. Quiet dominance, relentless fundamentals, and 5 banners that prove substance always wins. The Big Three. Everything changed in 2010. LeBron James left Cleveland, Chris Bosh left Toronto, D-Wade stayed home. Pat Riley pulled off the league's biggest free agency swing, forming the Miami Big Three. From that moment, the Heat weren't just contenders, they were the story. In that first year, they reached the finals, but against Dallas, they collapsed. LeBron averaged just under 18 points in the finals. Miami lost in 6. The next year, redemption. LeBron dominated the lockout-shortened season, winning his 3rd most valuable player, and finally getting over the hump. Miami beat Oklahoma City in 5, with LeBron posting a triple-double in the clincher. Bosh held down the paint, and Wade filled every gap. They were a real team now, not just hype. Then came 2012-13, peak Heat. They won 66 games and reeled off 27 straight wins. LeBron shot 56% from the field. Wade, though banged up, still averaged 20 a night. They went to the finals again, this time against the Spurs. And in Game 6, Ray Allen saved the dynasty. His corner 3 forced overtime. Miami won in 7. LeBron dropped 37 in Game 7. Back-to-back champions. But in 2014, the run ended. The Spurs came back with vengeance. They shredded Miami's defense with precision ball movement. LeBron still showed up, over 28 points a game on 57% shooting. But Wade faded, and Bosh struggled to impact. The Heat lost in 5. Just weeks later, LeBron went back to Cleveland. In 4 years, Miami went to 4 finals and won 2 titles. LeBron won 2 most valuable players and 2 finals most valuable player. Wade sacrificed his prime to make it work. Bosh transformed into a stretch 5, defending the rim and spacing the floor. They weren't perfect, but they were bold, and that mattered. Spo evolved too. He pushed pace, downsized the lineup, and unlocked positionless basketball. Miami's best version had LeBron at the 4, Bosh at the 5, and shooters like Battier and Allen spreading the floor. They led the league in transition points. They were the blueprint for modern super teams. Off the court, they were polarizing. The decision made them villains. Crowds booed them in every arena, but they thrived in that chaos. American Airlines Arena sold out every night. Finals ratings soared. The NBA's revenue ballooned. Love them or hate them, you were watching. LeBron's Heat era ended in 2014, but its impact didn't. It changed how stars move. It changed how teams build, and it changed how dynasties form. The Heat didn't build slowly. They sprinted to greatness. From rock bottom in 2011 to champions in 2012 to iconic moments in 2013, this 4-year sprint was unforgettable. The Big Three gambled everything, and for a while, they ran the league. Splash Brothers. The Splash Brothers dynasty completely changed how teams play today. When Golden State drafted Steph Curry and Klay Thompson just 2 years apart, no one expected them to build something that shake the league for almost a decade. Curry came in with the handle and deep shooting, but injuries slowed him down. Then Thompson joined and brought his smooth jumper and two-way ability. It all clicked under Mark Jackson, and by the time they made the playoffs in 2013, it was clear something was brewing. Once Steve Kerr arrived, things exploded. The 67-win season in 2015 wasn't just dominant, it was the start of a movement. Curry won his first MVP that year and was launching from distances nobody else dared to. Thompson wasn't far behind, and their chemistry was ridiculous. They ran through Cleveland in the finals, and suddenly, Golden State wasn't just good, they were scary. Then came the historic 73-win run. Curry became the first unanimous MVP, and the Warriors were breaking records left and right. They didn't close the deal that year, but the foundation was still solid. That loss pushed them to bring in Kevin Durant, and everything flipped. The moment he joined, the league felt like it was over before the season even started. With Durant, Curry, and Thompson firing together, the offense became unstoppable. Durant got his revenge in the finals, winning back-to-back finals MVPs, and Golden State walked away with 2 more rings. Curry and Thompson didn't stop producing either. Curry was dishing and scoring, while Thompson stayed consistent from deep and played lockdown defense. Even during the 2018 season, with Curry missing over 30 games, they kept rolling. Durant picked up the slack, Thompson remained reliable, and the team chemistry never wavered. They ended that playoff run with a sweep of Cleveland. That was the height of their dominance. The 2019 run could have added a 5th ring, but injuries wrecked it. Durant tore his Achilles, Thompson tore his ACL, and it was clear the magic was fading. Still, even with Curry averaging over 30, Toronto's depth and health gave them the edge. The Warriors were worn down. After that, Durant left for Brooklyn. Thompson sat the entire next season, and Curry broke his hand early. The team fell apart. From contending every year to finishing dead, last in the conference, it felt like the run had finally ended. What made it all work, though, wasn't just the stars. Draymond Green did everything else. He defended, passed, and made the small ball lineup a nightmare. Iguodala played smart and stayed in front of the best scorers. Livingston gave them steady buckets off the bench, and guys like Barnes and Lee played their roles perfectly. Steve Kerr's system made it even more dangerous. They spaced the floor, passed like crazy, and never stopped shooting. At their peak, they were tossing up over 30 threes a game and connecting from anywhere. Curry hit nearly half of his shots from 25 to 30 feet that season. That's just wild. They won 4 championships in 5 years, reached 5 straight finals, and stacked up regular season wins like it was nothing. Over that run, their playoff record was 89-33, and their regular season record was 341-69. That's unheard of. They didn't just dominate, they influenced an entire generation. The Warriors filled arenas, boosted TV ratings, and turned Curry into a global icon. His jersey flew off shelves, and his brand deals made headline. But most of all, they changed how basketball's played forever. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.